Good evening, everyone. Welcome to France, apparently. This is Ryan, the Bearded Sim Racer, and with me is Eric. Eric, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. I am Eric Root at the Everything Bagel, 24 Hours of Lemons. Tonight, this is a very special event, as much as we are able to do. As you can see, this is the first of 3 nights of the YU Ruin Classic at 24 Hours of Le Mans Circuit in France. And it's a night race. So we won't actually be able to see anything, which is great, because it'll just be sparks every once in a while and somebody tumbling, and we'll catch that as they shadow out into the night and so forth. And of course, joining us tonight are Chris and Chrissy from the Everyone Racers podcast. I believe Jeff will be along later on. How are you guys doing tonight?
Bonjour, je m'appelle Chrissy.
Chrissy's been studying her Duolingo.
I have.
We're supposed to be there at Le Mans this year, and here we are.
Yep. So. Next weekend is supposed to be the actual race, so that's why we've scheduled these races for this weekend and next. So
here's a look at where we are tonight. Tonight. Yeah. So flying through the space, we come down, and here's a nice, lovely look at the Circuit de Le Mans.
Man, we seem way too legit.
Like, yeah, this is real graphics and stuff.
Can you tell that I learned how to make these this week? So yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
it's been a productive week. So
that was fancy. We're gonna have to pull that. We're gonna have to get your money's worth out of those. And
That's
just
right.
Pull them up
well,
like
the question is, Eric, are you getting your money's worth?
I guess totally.
That's the question.
It's the good couple. A look at a couple of cars there. There's the Pissvasser Miata there, which is pretty great. Sean South looks like no business racing.
You know what? This looks a lot better than I thought it would, to be honest with you. When there's cars around each other with the lights, it actually looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, I put a track map up there because it's a big track, and that'll help us keep track of at least where the groups of cars are.
Yeah, I like it. That helps. Totally.
Yeah, I like to be helpful when I can. So as we get a look here, it looks like, I'm assuming, is a Jetta. Yep, a Jetta. Oh, there we go. Jetta and 2 Miatas. Okay, great. So we're going to work on identifying. Remember, like when we were kids and we were driving around, you could tell when cops were behind you because of the headlights?
Yep.
Yes,
we're gonna play that game tonight. I have a feeling.
Clang.
This is the first F in chat for Sean South there in the Pissvasser car.
Hey, but the headlights are still on. That's pretty good.
Ooh, that looks cool.
Look at that.
Into one of the chicanes somewhere.
That is Mulsanne Corner.
Oh, that's a corner, not a chicane. I like it.
And that is Mulsanne Corner, which is brought to you tonight by the American stereotype of French people.
Oh, yeah.
Mon ami, j'ai la rotisserie and my palais est coupé de milieu.
I have a visual aid for the French people thing. Here's a look at yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, there's a nice little slideshow. It might take a second, but you get the idea. Yeah. So again, these are the stereotypes of what Americans think French people are. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, yes. Great. Yeah, excellent. So yeah, there you go. And then we have a special cat gift tonight. I'm gonna have to make
I hope he has a little.
He does.
Glass of wine.
Does he have a beret?
He has a beret. There you go. And he's cute. That's right.
Oh, he is cute. Does he have a name? Pierre.
There you go. He does now.
Pierre.
Now he's Pierre.
Pierre is very fluffy.
He's also a very American stereotype of French. So, Pierre.
Oh, oui.
Oh, yeah.
I like to make wine and cheese and love. Oh, yes.
Look at the lovely, brake rotors glow. That's hard to say.
It is.
Oh, and the black Mustang clang. Oh, that was sad.
So every car is black tonight. So
yep.
Black cars matter.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah.
Oh, what's the car count looking like here? I think we're still around 25-ish.
Let's see.
It's like a few more
doing
popping up.
math. Looks like we've got, as you can imagine, most people haven't set a time yet. So let's do some quick counting here. So,
This is our counting face. Very
20,
useful.
27. Yeah.
27. All right.
Nice. Oh, look at chat. Chat, we're all doing great. Yeah, you know what? Chat's probably right. Yeah, that's my kid that you hear. Sorry about that. I'll tweak the noise gate a little bit, but yeah, I have a 3-year-old, so she likes to party.
3-year-olds will do that. Yeah.
It's always
There
party
she
time
is.
for 3-year-olds.
Yeah. She spent all day in the pool. We got her one of those like inflatable pool things. It's got like a slide and like a sprinkler and all that stuff. So she's a happy kid.
Nobody gets me these things. Although, you should point out, Three Pedal Mafia bring a pool to races. So you guys have your, well, it's not a pool, I suppose. It's a hot tub.
It is. You know, we're kind of worried about the COVID and the hot tub, how that's going to go. I mean, last race in New Hampshire, we did get 9.5 people in our 4-person Coleman Lazy Spa.
Nice.
In the morning, there was about 6 inches of water left in it. But
So let me ask:
well.
when you were
brown.
when you were finagling everyone into this hot tub, was the Tetris theme song playing in the background?
There was no finagling at all.
it usually involved
Drunk people.
almost cannonballs. Really, like I'm coming in, make room, and yeah,
People in full costume.
yeah, we had that.
Anywhere from bathing suits to Elvira.
And there were various marital aids being thrown about at the time. That's kind of
That's how our paddock goes.
yeah.
So good.
This won't seem abnormal to anyone in the Northeast.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
well.
If you've seen it, you've seen it. That's just how it is.
And if I haven't hit you with it, I will soon.
Someone will. Amanda had a hell of an aim last time with the with one particular marital aid. she,
You're making somebody an engine swap or something, right?
yeah, she kept hitting sorry for party, like not Matt or Dean, one of the other guys who are trying to swap their damn motor, and Amanda keeps flinging a dick at them. So,
That's Amanda Tolley, who's racing tonight. Apparently has fantastic aim. Who knew?
you learn something every race.
That's right. People discovering the limits of the track there. There's Amanda Tully. I believe she's in a Mustang.
Yep, it's a car. It's definitely a car.
It's car shaped. We're going to have to work on the dashboard identification as well.
I was going to say that's what I feel like this whole setup is missing in the dark. It really helps to have that little light around the car numbers so you know which car it is.
In the Mustang, you can tell it's the Mustang because it has that the pie dash thing.
It's got a big
Yeah.
wing too. That helps too.
Oh yeah, well, from in the car, I meant.
There's the speedometer. That's how I could tell.
Ah. There you
The
go.
speedometer that's not working because we're spectating.
Well,
Turns out when you show up at night and you haven't, focused on anything else or know the track all that well, it's hard to know where anybody is.
Yeah.
I think she's headed towards Mulsanne at the moment. Brought to you by
hey,
the American Stereotype of French people.
so to Patrick in the chat, neither but kind of us. It was terminally confused Kurt and Craig. Sorry, Pat said, is it 3 p.m. where the party guys are bringing the 3 green eggs to NJMP? That was a couple years ago. That was when we did our Springtime for Hitler's theme. And Kurt and Craig from Terminally Confused came up, and they came up just to hang out and cook barbecue because that's the kind of guys they are. So they brought their green eggs, and Kurt's an amazing barbecue guy, and he's very generous with that, and he does a lot for Lemons of Love down at CMP. So they brought those up and hung out with us for the weekend. So it's not us, but they were with us.
Also, the Zero Energy guys at New Jersey Now will cook 100 pounds of pork butt for the sake of doing that. So, yeah,
Absolutely.
big part of Lemons and kind of the best part of it, actually. Especially when you're an organizer and you just, are tired after the end of the day and want to eat something, somebody's usually ready to just shove food at you, and that's a pretty awesome thing.
Yeah. we try to do that with all you guys the best we can. Like walk up to Andy and like Jay in the morning, and here's some breakfast, or with you guys, or coffee, right, Eric? Like there's always coffee around.
Here's a look at the lovely track map that Eric worked so hard on for everyone to see tonight. Because this is what you're going to see tonight.
That gag
I appreciate
a long time.
the level of detail is really apparent.
Yeah, it's super realistic. I mean, you'd feel almost like you're there, just looking at it. So.
It's vodka seltzer, but the cup is so small and has so much ice in it that I only put like a drop of both in.
Huzzah!
Someone's
So
making
who are we on board
beverages.
with tonight? Oh, I'm sorry, we are.
No, you're good. It's Andre and Drave.
Of Team 50 Shades of Rust, which is an excellent name as well.
And that's what their car looks like.
It's cool. It's dark.
It's a Mustang.
It's a Mustang.
Got
It's
a glint of light there.
There's Nate Schlavine in a Mustang. Good deal. Took me a second.
On the track map, it looks like there's a whole bunch of the field is kind of bunching up onto the one side. Maybe we can get some cars together.
Yeah, that's the pit lane there, the bottom left.
Oh.
Yeah, they're not moving. That's why there's a whole bunch of them there. But here we
Got
go.
it.
Here
I
comes
just thought they were just hanging
here's
out together.
A first of our interactions on the. Is this the Mulsanne Straight? Looks like a really long straightaway.
It's either that or the run down to Indianapolis.
Okay, well it's the very
is
long
Mulsanne,
back
yeah.
straight. Yeah, it's a very long back straightaway. Okay, great. All right. There's a chicane
There
thing.
There's
there we
the
go.
second chicane.
Oh, okay, cool. We're learning together. Chat can probably help us out some too.
Phoenix the Fox
Dish chicane?
has renamed that one the Wee Wee chicane, and the first one the Wee chicane.
I think it's Le Chicane, actually.
Lay Wee Wee.
Is it Mr. Chicane or Mrs. Chicane? Oh, only if you are trying to learn French. Does that make sense?
The gendered pronouns, is that what you're talking about?
It's killer, yes.
Yeah.
It's Mrs. Croissant, but Mr. Baguette. Or vice versa.
You're going to look at the closing rate on the straightaway here. On board a Solstice. Got a Jetta coming up behind us. And I think that's a Mustang to the left of the, on the screen of the, yep. Excellent. So yeah, here's the three main cars we're going to see tonight. If we had a Miata in this group too, it would just be amazing. But yeah, looks like all the cars are pretty evenly matched. Looks like the Mustang, of course, has the top end advantage, but the drives like a brick disadvantage everywhere else.
You'll have that. Yeah, the top speeds are probably all within 20 to 30 miles an hour.
See how much.
Not so sure.
Yeah, we'll see how much this Mustang gaps here. Yeah, that Solstice is wrapped out. Ooh.
The big
The advantage of the
question-
Solstice driving in deep. The Mustang absolutely cannot do that. That's fantastic.
Wow.
The big question tonight was whether the Solstice drivers will be able to get fifth gear.
Oh, this is incredible. This looks
Question.
so much more lit up than I thought it would be. Yay.
It's lit and stuff.
Sorry, this is my first night race, if you believe that.
Mine
Like
too.
Nice to
where
have
the
all these
track
cars together.
where the
It's
track
awesome.
does I say where the track doesn't have lights, but yeah, this is awesome.
It is cool. I shoot photos at the races that we hold. So when we go to a night race, like shooting night photos is super hard. And the only time it ever works is like this, when the car behind has the headlights as the lighting. It usually makes cool effects and stuff. So there you go, little tidbit.
Hey, I just want to acknowledge the fact that chat is like all Twitch right now. You guys are awesome.
Very well done. We like our Twitch people viewers.
We
There
love
go.
our Twitch. We should send each one of them toilet paper, not just if you win. Just if you watch on Twitch, you get toilet paper from us.
Sure, why not?
Doesn't have to be good toilet paper.
Yeah, I mean, I will start calling janitor supply to get single ply sandpaper grit.
Do you remember the episode of The Office where Dwight made the thing that unplied the 2-ply, separated them?
No, but that's excellent.
Yeah. When he bought the building, he was trying to cut corners wherever he could, so he invented Amish day or whatever you want to call it. It's like a little thing, like you sit there and turn a little crank in it, and it turns one roll of toilet paper into 2 rolls. It's pretty hilarious. Cool story, right?
It's a good one. At a beginning,
Cool story, bro.
Yeah, I was gonna say cool story, bro. Thanks, Kyle. We love you. That's right. What else would you do with toilet paper? So is this strange to see a TP'd house during a pandemic?
That's kind of weird.
Well, if it's now, it's a little bit better. If it was like a month and a half ago, people would just be taking it off the tree and then using it.
This was like a solid month ago that I can't remember if it was like in a movie, because that would make more sense. But for some reason, I'm thinking it was like IRL, and that's really crazy.
I feel like that's like just a rich way to say, be like, look what I have, haha, let me just put this toilet paper all over my house.
There we
Take
go.
that, pores.
So how many furries do we have in chat tonight? There's an inquiry. Let's pass
So
that
many.
along. So many. Hey, that's great. All right, let's look at some different headlights. Let's go to, here's the top of the board right now. Anthony Cugno for Team J Becker. And as soon as I say that, Nathaniel Adler goes to the top of the board. These are also Mustangs here. The top 6 cars right now are Class A, and then we've got, here's the first of the Class Bs. It's a Miata.
Team Climb Dancers. That's way too serious name. Gotta put that out there. Although it is 405, so I wonder if it's the Peugeot guys, the 2 Peugeot 405s that they're racing on the East Coast. I think one of them died, but they still have one.
I mean, is a climb dancer not a stripper?
Well, Climb Dance is a famous 80s video of Peugeot at Pikes Peak, I think.
Oh, shoot, that's so deep.
Yeah, it's a deep cut.
Wow.
It's a deep cut. But let's...
They are meta.
Yeah. Let's just call them Team Pole Dancers. We're going to rename them Team Pole.
I like the
Nice.
pole dancers. I think that's better.
Still have
There you
not
go.
seen any flashing headlights yet. So we may be right about the fact that no one mapped that button.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, that went well for the pole dancers there. That was
The
good.
pole dancer.
Oh,
is-
yeah. F's in chat for the pole dancers, which are also affected by the pandemic, I assume.
That's right. Support your local working mothers.
Our surf pub is...
Yeah, we just drove by our local dance emporium this evening. We were thinking, oh, it's a shame. They've been out of work for a long time. I wonder what they're doing.
That's probably a question you don't really want answered. Maybe you do. I don't know.
Sometimes the brain asks questions that later you say, no, no, stop it.
See if we can get a look at Sagi's livery here. It is allegedly something very good. But I'm sure it's full of in-jokes that we will not be able to see at all.
You know, it's especially coming from Sagi, that's kind of dark,
Yeah.
that livery.
Yeah. Is the late show different than the early one?
That's going well, Sagi. There you go. Oh, it's green. There's some green in it, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, you can't do one of the fun things that the CMP 24 Hours at last year was all the people that did fun light designs on their car for nighttime, which is great to be able to see them, but some of them were really pretty interesting. Here, there's none of that. That's a shame.
That'd be nice if you could add lighting. It would be little LED lights.
Yeah, I don't think trading paints does LEDs, sadly.
What if it was stripper glitter? I feel like that would be the way around it.
Yeah, that'd be great. There's still 32 minutes before we start here, so someone can quick go into GIMP, make those changes, and come back. Like, forget a potato. Make it anything that has light to it.
So
Go.
I put on the Instagram filter for old film. That's kind of cool.
Oh, there we
looking.
go.
Yeah. Let's see. Here's VHS. That should look. Oh yeah, that looks awesome.
We're totally in influencer territory. This is gonna be great.
Okay, so now we have the wow. Oh god, reflective. Hey, there's reflective poles on the track. Does that count? Ooh, we just found one. I think that wasn't reflective. Ouch.
Jesse Ports, Lemons Rally veteran.
Let's see what else we got. So we've got.
So if we're gonna have the old film filter, then we need to have some kind of like piano in the background as opposed to the,
All right.
the
All right.
metal.
I can work on
Can
that.
player piano.
All right. All right. Here. Hold on. We're creating a moment right here. Everyone, stand by. This is gonna be great. Totally have no idea what's about to happen. I'm just clicking play. So let's enjoy this together. Ah.
Not what I was expecting.
No, it's not. That's not what I expected either. Hold on a second here.
MR Frisbee saying put the Gran Turismo 2 filter back on. Like the opening scene with the opening credits with the cardigans.
Oh, he's talking about the hold on, this one right here. This is the one he's talking about.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, where he
The
pixelates it.
VHS is what this one's called. Is this the one? Is this the one you're requesting?
It's excellent.
MR Frisbee. Let's see here. Let me get. You know what? Here, I know what I'm gonna play. Here, this goes with that song. Here, enjoy. That Ridge Racer song.
There we go.
It's not Ridge Racer.
It's
not
close enough.
It's the not Ridge Racer song. Ooh, that's got some bass too. Oh yeah.
This would go great in any of the many Lemons cars that have serious sound systems. And there are several of them.
Oh, dude, that onboard is so hotness with that filter because the gauges are all crazy looking. Oh yeah. Perfect timing, of course.
Yep, naturally. Cut right to it. Yep, Chris St. Mary, one of the maximum effort drivers, I believe.
Old
They
film filter. Okay, well I can go back to that. Whoops. Oh, in here. There you go. Cooking stuff.
Yeah, there you go.
There. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, if you remember the, can't remember if it was the simulation disc or the arcade disc, but
Oh, yeah,
it would
yeah,
play
yeah.
this opening
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the Cardigans. God, what's the name of that song? Help me out in chat. The name of the Cardigans song.
Favorite game or something?
favorite game.
Cardigans.
That's right.
Oh, ooh. And this
There you
song,
go.
this song is great.
I do love the Cardigans. It's a guilty pleasure band of mine.
That's okay. Is that the Love Me, Say That You Love Me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Which is the worst song on that album. That album's actually really good.
Nice. And this is some good jams right here.
Believe that's Indianapolis corner, which means the next one's Armenage, which is right.
Yep,
I remembered a thing.
you did. So, looking at the track map, we're on board with car number 316, and you can see at the bottom of the middle of the track map, there's a pink circle moving to the left. That's the car we're on board with.
So is that broken up by class?
Right here.
then?
Right here. No, for some reason it's. Oh yeah, yeah. The ring around the outside of it is the class. So this little red ring here on the outside tells us it's Class A, and then their car number, and then I'm assuming.
Looks like green is the leader. So it's your quick car.
So
and
136. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, 136 is the class leader, and then 405. Yep. This is cool. This is fancy. And it tells us when they're in the pits. Look at that. Wow.
Of course, it's fancy. You made it. You got to stick with this thing where you pretend to be competent. You know.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'm just going with it.
years.
Someone took the time to write the code. I'm just glad we could get the most out of it. That's a lot of emojis, and as a frequent user of emojis, I can appreciate that. I would appreciate the effort though to do some type of conversation via emojis. Do you guys remember that when that was a thing? Lemon, eggplant.
There you go. Somebody mentioned Front 242 scored a film about Le Mans. I did not know that. Thank you, Lady Auburn.
Ooh.
That old-timey piano music is, I think, what
All right.
we need if we can find some. I agree with that. 8456987. So Chris and
Maple
Chris,
leaf
Chrissy-
rag. That's got to work.
Oh, there we go. This is
Yes.
Scott Joplin. We should just let that play for a second.
Yep. Enjoy.
Hang on, I gotta put the broadcast on so I can hear it. Yes,
That's perfect.
Scott Joplin's perfect for this. Well done.
Well, thank you.
And pretty soon we're gonna just have a screen with just text on it that says, "Oh no, he's making the paths."
Oh no, a wall is coming up too quickly. Clang.
So we also have a sepia filter. Ooh, that actually adds light. I like it.
Hey, that's kind of useful.
That is
It's like
useful.
extremely lost, by the way.
Do what?
That's
I'm
night
sorry.
vision right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, iRacing. That big update I talked about so much last week. I'm actually finding everything now. There's a lot of cool stuff. New audio engine, a lot of cool new sounds when there's crashes and stuff. You hear a lot of weird stuff that I hadn't heard before. So, if anyone out there that's new to iRacing, a good set of headphones makes a difference when the actual sounds being generated are worth hearing. So just keep that in mind.
Good to know.
Boost the gamma. But unfortunately, it's not like the filters on that where you can adjust the channels. I can adjust what type of filter, but that's the only adjustment I have. Oh, I can do what's it called, a vignette where the outsides are dark. There we go. That looks fancy. There you go.
Well, turning on that filter in general has made this whole thing a good approximation of what it's like to drive an elderly British car at night. My first car when I was 16 was an MGA, so I got used to that.
When I was young, my mom had an MGB midget convertible little two-door car that had terrible headlights. I can remember that.
There you go. God, yeah, I can't even imagine. Well, I can't imagine actually attempting to drive an MGA like every day. I assume that was your daily driver?
Yeah, I was 16 years old. It seemed like a great idea at the time.
To and from school in an MGA.
Yeah, especially like when it got cold. Once it got snowy, then we put it away for the winter, and I drove my mom's Civic wagon that later became a Lemon's car. But until that time, hell yeah, I'd put the side curtains on and crank the heater and hope for the best.
Man.
I still have that car. Still in the garage. I haven't driven it in 5 years, but I still have it.
So this one's called 8-bit. That's a lot of pixels.
The kids will love it. Just say it's Minecraft, the racing game.
That's what I meant. Minecraft. Thank you. Yeah.
It's a 2-hour race tonight, so we're got about 20 more minutes of
Time to
warm-up.
kill. Yeah.
So yeah, we got some dead air to fill.
Ooh, black and
That's
white.
pretty
Nice.
much what it says.
This song is. Go ahead.
No, say we've got time. We had a question in the chat. Lady Auburn said, "How well did Mom's Honda hold up?" Well, she gave it to us because it rusted out so badly that the state of Massachusetts would no longer pass it an inspection. So she said, "Well, here, you'll do something dumb with this," and yeah, we did. So it was our second Lemon's car. Our first one was a Wartburg, but the Civic, it was terribly slow but handled well and did completely mediocre in our hands because we had no idea what we were doing because we were new to all this crap, and didn't break much until it broke weird, obscure four-wheel drive parts that we couldn't get anywhere. And eventually it rusted out so badly in the rear suspension pickup points, we retired it. So
There's your update.
Yep. Civic wagons and the weird Japanese Wago van things do reasonably well in Lemons. We haven't seen the Mitsubishi one yet. I kind of really want somebody to bring one.
An Expo? Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Expo or an Eagle Summit. Or
you get a brief moment. For a brief moment, you can see what it is. Everyone look really close here. I'm getting really close. Here we go.
It's a Pink Panther, I think.
Yes.
Like
Inspector.
whatever the inspector. Yes, that's the one.
Come on, lighting. Aw, maybe next corner.
Ready? It's like waiting for lightning.
Waiting for lighting. All right, so much for that.
The excitement is palpable. No.
There we go. That's not creepy.
Maybe with the sepia tone we can see it.
Ooh, ideas. I like those.
Probably.
Nope.
It's just a brown blur instead of a black one.
Let's see here. Some more. Yeah.
Greg Schnitker here. I believe Greg won one of our oh man, that's loud, whatever that paint scheme is. But won one of our trash races. Spec Racer Ford Rallycross.
Battleship Yamato?
Sure.
Maybe. Oh yeah, Space Battleship Yamato. There we go. Wave Motion Industries. There we go. Keep the piano theme going. East Jammy Jams.
The Twitch chat loves the Battleship Yamato.
Ooh, look at that glowing Mazda center console cluster thing. Climate control. Yeah.
Radio.
Ooh, here we get a look down the famed Ford versus Ferrari set. There.
Well said. Well said. The front straight. Believe the start finish line is there. Somebody coming out of the pits behind Greg Schnitker there.
See, this looks a lot safer than what it used to look like. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
There's the Dunlop Bridge, nice, and then down a some these are the S's, I think. Is that right?
It's the Dunlop S's or the Forest S's. I think.
There we go. Nice.
Then there's another left or right, and then you get
The S's.
Lesses. Less
is
is
that
more.
male or female?
It's
I
the
don't
less
understand.
is more.
Just say
lesses.
le in front of
So-
everything.
So the Mulsanne corner is at the end of the Mulsanne straight.
Yep. So that was Tetra Rouge.
So is that like the kink thing, or the second?
There's a
chicane?
little bend, and then it's the hairpin at the end of the Mulsanne Straight.
Okay, cool. I got yeah. Yeah. We're
Le
learning.
baguette avec le fromage.
Thank you.
De rien.
Can we jump on board the 18? Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Yeah. Corey Dickman. Hey, good to see you, Corey.
He is about to come on to the. Oh, there's the Ferris wheel on the left.
Yeah,
Nice.
So that's the Porsche S's, Porsche Curves.
Yeah, looks like Corey's in a Mustang tonight as opposed to his usual 70s GM fare.
There's some cool. They have some cool stuff out here tonight. It's very, very nice. So there's another cool little thing lit up. Nice. Sorry, I'm like a little kid at a toy store. This kind of stuff. This is great. I just think about
Are you
all
talking
the
about the
just everything, the visuals.
stuff on the course?
Yeah, just the visuals, like
lit up.
all the stuff that iRacing, like all the hours and hours they spent, like, and all the artists they spent recreating all this stuff. I know it's laser scan, but you still have to take that laser data and make it look like something. You know what I mean? So this is incredible.
Maybe they highlighted this because of knowing that it would be run 24 hours just because of the 24-hour Le Mans.
Yeah, definitely.
They probably, right, because like NJMP, I don't think has trees in buildings and stuff. But if you've got
Right,
a place
right.
that you're going to run all hours, it's worth it to highlight this kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think it was one of the later scan tracks too. Like they had 50 or so under their belt before they did this one, so it makes sense. And you notice the ones that come out that are newer have been, they just keep getting better and better and better. Okay, here we go, Mulsanne Strait. I could tell because all those trees. There we go.
Trees on the left.
Oh, nice.
And that's actually, God, what town is that? I think that's the town of Le Mans is on the left there.
We.
And then Mulsanne Corner is at Mulsanne, which is a town. So the back straight links Le Mans and Mulsanne.
They were super creative in the naming of stuff here. Except where the hell did Indianapolis come from? That certainly is not Indianapolis.
No. There we go. We're headed eventually down to Mulsanne Corner, sponsored by America's Concept of French People.
If only we could have black flag penalties here and bring back the very old but classic mime your crime penalty.
Marcel. Yeah.
Yeah, that was an excellent one. I enjoyed dishing that penalty out to people. That was great.
So this is going to be the corner down here. Gotcha.
Yep. So there's a little bend to the right, and then
I'm guessing he's not sure where it is exactly because he's
not really at all.
Oh, here we go.
Oh,
Nice.
nope, that's the second chicane. God, that is a long straight. Man,
That is,
people
yeah.
be falling asleep at
All right.
these cars.
Could you imagine, like, shoo.
Have we confirmed that the Solstice can get to 5th?
Somebody was testing out. They said it was actually faster in 4th. They shift to 5th. It just
No, I think they were saying the Miata doesn't work with 6, but the Solstice should pull all the way to 5th, definitely.
There you go. Top speed probably about 130-ish, maybe a little faster.
Solstice?
So the fastest laps are probably in the 440s-ish. Gonna guess.
Bump drafting? Is this bump drafting?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. As long as he doesn't hit him.
Yeah, or whatever.
Or just go off.
Yeah. That was
Clang.
soggy drafting somebody.
Hello, everyone. I arrived just in time to hear soggy drafting people.
Hey, Jeff.
Welcome.
How you doing?
Welcome, Jeff.
Jeff
Ooh,
Wakeman from Everyone Racers.
So welcome, Jeff, by the way. Sorry. So when people warp out and the camera has that camera shake thing, it's like a bomb goes off when they come back. That was crazy. I don't know if anybody at home saw that.
Yeah.
Soggy blinked out and the smoke and then it like exploded and he came back. That was crazy. It was like he hit 88 miles per hour. That's what it was.
Barely in the Solstice.
How much
Jeff,
fog?
you've missed so much.
How much fog can
Yeah, I was
we
going to
add?
say, what did I miss as I take my drink of my beverage?
It's
Dark.
It's dark, and we see deliveries very seldom at all.
Even if we try to look at the car. Oh,
F's in chat for
Soggy.
Hey, no F's in the chat because his headlights are still working, so you know.
It's valid. Yep. So we're trying to figure out which headlights belong to which. That's kind of the game for the night.
The Jettas seem to have a 4-light front end, so that's an indicator there I've seen.
There you go. Oh,
And then
we
Jeff-
saw you too. Yeah.
Yes, Jeff, you missed the old-timey movie and the sepia tone filters that we put on here, along with appropriate player piano and Scott Joplin music.
Nice. I saw the Mulsanne Strait brought to you by the Americans' perception of French people. So when they're on the Mulsanne Strait, does that mean that we all have to speak like Maurice Chevalier?
Well, Jeff, as long as no one has French pronunciation as bad as yours, we'll be okay.
I think that's right.
Yeah, it's how many times did we talk about how to say Citroen? Really?
Citroën.
No,
It only took me like a year.
not it at all.
And we had it. Right? We owned the car, and then we had that guy from the science project team, Marc Bazin. He is very French,
Yes.
and we had him come over and say, "All right, Marc, teach Jeff how to say Citroen." And so
Citroën.
Right. And Jeff was like, Citron. Mark's like, no, Citroën. Citron.
I was doing the T too hard. I know it wasn't Citron. It was like Citroën, and it wasn't like that. No. Oh well.
We're getting close. Yeah.
Fine.
Anyway,
People
anybody
are
wants to buy it?
not to do the bad French accent.
Okay. All right, well, here's Pierre the cat.
I love Pierre the cat. It's a great beanie.
Beanie. He says beanie. Maybe you mean beret?
Beret. Yes, like
Yep,
raspberry.
Nailed it. Oh,
Pit maneuver going into one of the chicanes there. Let's take another look at that.
It's half pink and half green. Could that be an Alex Levinson vehicle?
No, it's Eric Hesser, one of the Wisconsin crap racing guys.
Got it.
So there is the Jetta has like a dual headlight setup. And the Miata kind of dive bombed.
Yeah, definitely. That was not his corner, that's for sure.
We do have a Lemons team called Les Citron. Now that you mention it, Matthew Cox. It is a Pontiac Le Mans, painted in bright yellow. It's a 77. It's enormous.
I feel like you have a pretty good excuse of like when you hit people in this race, you're like, well, maybe I didn't even see you because you're in the dark. We're not good at racing in the dark. We as in like Lemons doesn't do it much, maybe?
No, we don't. Because it sucks. It sucks as an organizer. We just don't want to do it. Basically, is what it comes down to. I don't know. You guys have run 24-hour races, yeah?
I have not.
We have no. Chris has with Terminally Confused in CMP, but Jeff nor I have run them.
And was it fun?
And Chris is saying behind me for good reason because Chris is like, yeah, it's good enough to do it once, and then probably it's a lot of work and time and effort and lack of sleep and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Here he is.
Dude, Tyler Stank is wheeling the shit out of this Miata, man.
Enjoying that.
Drifting around every corner. It's awesome. Oh,
That
there was a
usually ends
Mustang.
well.
Look out, crowd.
Oh, clang.
Took the shortcut to the pit lane there.
That's right.
509 is wheeling that thing. 10 minutes left. So it'll be about 5 minutes a lap, probably on average, I would guess. So we got a 2-hour race. Stints will probably end up being around 6-ish laps. So 30 minutes. I think that's where the fuel target was.
Man, the Jetta down the straight is really boring.
Yeah. I mean, it's a Jetta.
Right. We are right now. We are. Let's see where we are. Oh, this isn't even the long straightaway. This is one of those turn things that's in the dark. Yeah.
Which one is that?
This is coming down to the last corner before the. So they are overheat right in this area right here.
Oh, that's
This is the
Arnage.
Yeah, this is the class leader for Class B.
That's Arnage corner, which is at the top.
Bentley.
There you go.
Bentley is totally just lame in their picking of model names, like Mulsanne, Arnage, etc.
Yeah.
Like weak. Just one guy went to France one day and like, I have ideas. Yeah.
Well, Bentley's entire legacy is do you know the story of the the blower Bentleys from the 20s?
You know what? We've got time. Why don't you tell us, Eric? Please.
Yeah. So Bentley.
Gather round, children. Eric is going to tell us the story of the blower Bentleys.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Welcome to the history of automotive
Yeah.
by
So
Eric Rude.
basically, Bentley was a high-end car company in the early days of motoring. Decided they were going to go to Le Mans, built these monster cars with superchargers on them. This is pre-war. It was the late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah, brass era.
And this worked really well for a bunch of Lemons teams too. We're going racing, put a big old supercharger on it.
Blower on the damn thing. Yeah. Which they actually cleaned up. Although I think they won 2 or 3 years in a row, and in one of the years, like, speaking about the safety of the circuit, like one of the Bentleys was broken down on the side of the road, and then another one didn't see it because it was in the middle of the night, just clobbered it, and then like limped back to the pits and fixed it, and ended up still winning the race. But so Bentley like spent all of their time and money investing in these cars to go win Le Mans, and the Bentley boys were the famed British racing drivers who drove them, and then I think a year after they won Le Mans, they went bankrupt because they spent all their money going racing. So the legacy is that they, won Le Mans, but also they ran the company out of money. So then somebody revived the name badge and like I don't actually know when, but eventually somebody, bought the remnants of Bentley and the ability to build things again as a Bentley. And now you know that. So there's an inane piece of history. But the Arnage and Mulsanne have some clinging to legacy aspects to them. But even though it's a totally different company, went into receivership and all that stuff.
Yeah, wasn't it Roots Group who owned Rolls?
I don't know. I don't know.
Rolls. I think Rolls was kind of soldiering on alone, like not in the British Leyland Empire. Because there's there wasn't a whole lot of parts bin sharing between Rolls and other stuff, which British Leyland surely would have demanded. They shared more with GM than anything else, frankly. And I only know this because we had one of the damn things and had to learn all about it.
Right.
So, I think they were on their own. And actually, let's shout out to this last week with the final Bentley Rolls-Royce L Series engine was produced. The 6 1/4 or 6 3/4 liter V8 started at 6 1/4 and then became 6 3/4 in 1967, and that was finally ended production this week because they just couldn't keep meeting emission standards. Surprising for an engine that started in 1959 and was making like 500 horsepower and 800 foot-pounds of torque by the time it got the plug pulled.
Excellent. So,
how much horsepower did ours make in our 1960 whatever? It was 60,
like 180. No, 69. It was adequate.
It was adequate. Adequate. Exactly right. It was listed as adequate.
But it's right. It was adequate because if it had more, it would have overwhelmed the brakes. So it was enough. But it was very, very.
What it had.
Yeah, it was very smooth though. Like the motor was by far the best part of that car.
That, by the way, Peter Monin just driving through there in the Damn It Doug car. You get the occasional glance of light, and you'll catch Howard Dean or Phil on the side of that car, Judge Phil, who will be joining us later, I believe. So stick around. Hopefully Phil will show up. Yeah, there you go.
And when Phil shows up, we'll hear all kinds of obscure history about various other European despots that are slightly involved with France, potentially. Maybe he can tell us about what the phalluses of French leaders and how glittery they were. That would be interesting to know.
Famous and heinous on your bingo card. I'll just get that out of the way now. And Verhoja, yes. Thank you, Kyle.
We had a request in the chat for Cat on a Roomba, so it is playing in the bottom corner.
It needs a beret.
I feel like the Howard Dean and the Cat on a Roomba are pretty much, if these are my only contributions to Western society, I'm okay with that.
Yes.
Hey, if you were the one that put this shark suit on the cat on the Roomba and monetized it, you'd be doing just fine. So no problems.
Probably true as well.
Yeah. Who would think would be jealous of the person that came up with the concept of cat in a shark costume on a Roomba?
You guys will excuse me. I'm going to go attempt to monetize anything I can find in my house.
Party parrot wearing a beret. If you find me, feel free to post a link to that in the chat. If you find the party parrot wearing a beret, I will absolutely put that on. The Great Value Coffee Car. Who's that?
I don't remember who that was. I haven't seen that car in a couple weeks. I hope that comes back. That was a great theme. And, pretty much anything where I toss out some stupid thing and then somebody makes a car about it, that makes my week. Like, that's the best thing ever.
Someone was actually listening.
I know.
How?
Well, I'm clicking that link.
That's the actual cat on a. That's great. Thank you.
Is that the one where it's chasing a duck? Because that's even better.
I have not. That just appears to be the actual person that put the costume on their cat. So thank you, lady, for the link.
Getting some add-ons to my very brief and crappy Bentley history. That Rolls-Royce purchased the remnants of them in 1931 after the stock market crash that wiped out Bentley, and Volkswagen owns them now. So there you go. Useless things that you now know.
There was a whole weird history about the interplay of BMW, Volkswagen, Bentley, and Rolls-Royce. Because BMW bought most of what was left of Rover Group back in the day, but like Honda kind of owned it. There was a whole... Basically, it was a town bicycle. Everyone owned something about the old British car company.
Yeah.
That's why you can buy a Rover that was actually like an 89 Honda Civic with Rover badges. And that's how Sterling came about, for example.
Right. Sterling was sold in America version of the Rover 800 or 827 or whatever it was.
Yeah, exactly. But then when BMW owned most of Rover, like when that, like my 99 Land Rover Discovery had a bunch of BMW stuff in it, like the seat switches were 7 Series parts. But eventually the BMW and Volkswagen had a fight over who owned what, and eventually they split it up that BMW owned Rolls-Royce and Volkswagen owned Bentley. But at the time, everything was powered by BMW engines. So then Volkswagen said, well, no way in hell we're doing that. So they pulled the old 6 3/4 out of hibernation and stuck a bigger turbo on it and called it good, just to get rid of the BMW stuff.
And isn't that why they built the W12? To be able to put in their Bentley Rover or whatever.
The A8 and the Continental when they came out. The Continental was an A8 in fancier clothing and worse reliability, if that says something.
Is that duck in a beret? Because
Parrot, but yeah.
Parrot in a beret. Okay, that to me just looks like I dropped something into my purple drink. And
Yeah, yep. Well, you have been robo tripping, so you got that going for you too. Or are you on Meow Meow? As long as we're filling out the bingo card.
Meow.
Do we actually have a completable bingo card? That would be great.
No, that would require me to expend effort on these broadcasts, which we all are well aware is never going to happen.
so in the chat, Auto Jim is saying that the Vickers Group controlled the Rolls-Royce name at some point.
Vickers, like the airplane manufacturer? I'm fascinated by this messed up British car history. As warm-up comes to a close, so we're gonna get a red flag, checkered flag, I guess. It'd be interesting to see what the warm-up lap looks like here, since a warm-up lap will take half an hour. So,
well, what's another half an hour and a 3-hour thing? You know,
that's not wrong.
So the weird there's all kinds of weird stuff that was going on with the Rolls-Royce.
They are gridded up right before the front complex.
Perfect.
So this is whatever that 90-degree curve is. It's right after that.
Before Porsche curves. Yep. Look at that. What else we got going on there? See Tom Lamino's car back there.
There's a lot of Jettas tonight. Or we're just probably staring at the Jettas.
The Jettas are all in a line. They've been segregated and moved to the right, apparently.
So starting on the front row, we've got Donnie Petrunak and Peter McDade. Fail Inc. Florida Man Racing for Donnie, and Gatorade's Better for Peter. Probably won't get through all these, but we'll try. Row 2, we've got Andrew Banah and Soggy Sam Gobble. Andrew is with Momrath Cheapies Trolley Racing and Super Happy Fun Club for Soggy. In the third row, we've got Greg Schnittinger and James Pancoast. Drop Packets Endurance Racing for Pancoast, and No Business and Black Maven Motorsports. All right, as they're starting to move. Row 4, Sean South, Peter Monin. Row 5, Alan Evans and Jonathan Samuel. In row 6, we've got Eric Hesser and Joseph Blackwell. In row 7, we've got Anton Lovett and Matt Sitko. Row 8, Tom Lamino and Josh Trappett. In row 9, we've got Santiago Iglesias. Sorry, Santiago for butchering your name. Jesse Ports. Row 10, Melanie Walker, Nathaniel Adler. Row 11, Andre Andrave and Scott Cotier. James McGuire and Mike Porter in row 12. Jay Becker and Doug Ellison in row 13. Row 14, we see William Niemeyer and Amanda Tully. And that's going to do it. Special thanks to Top Flight Computers for bringing the starting grid tonight. If you're looking for a custom gaming computer, workstation, or just like computers, check out topflightpc.com and also look for the Top Flight Crew Facebook group. Thank you.
That was great. You got all through it while we got to watch these solstices attempting to warm their tires.
No, I think
it's a fan.
using an Xbox controller. The gathering
Right, Johnny?
Fago car on pole, as it should be.
Fantastic lineup there we've got. A lot of good names we recognize. Some
28 teams tonight. So thank you everybody for coming out and participating. Thank you everyone at home for tuning in and watching. I hope you enjoy our feature presentation of Night of Bad Driving, or Bad Drivers. But yeah.
Ryan, you're aware of all the new updates here. Is the Mustang pace car? I haven't seen that before. Is that a new pace car?
No, that's been around. The choice is in there whenever you create the session of what pace car you want to use. So looks like it delayed the green. So, oh no, there it goes. Pace car came in, and the green flag is coming out. There we go. Green flag's out. Here we go.
That pace car was doing Mustang things. It was
It was.
It saw
lining up some crowds and trying to mow them down.
It saw the wine tent and decided it needed to knock it down. Boom, we're racing. Look at that. Lemons at Le Mans.
How about that? It happened.
It happened.
Coming into
Solstice on Le Mans. Not a common sight there.
That's true. I don't think they, well, it's based on the Opel, which was sold in Europe. It's pretty much the exact same thing, actually.
Yeah, but like, how many times you see a Solstice? What would they even run in? IMSA? No, nope.
No, well, yeah.
SCCA, I think is what you're looking for there. Like a C stock or something, maybe.
Sure.
Yeah.
FCCA.
That's
France
right.
Sport Car.
Francois. Yeah, sure. Can we get an announcer intro again? Sure thing. Sure thing. You absolutely can. So, I'm Ryan Bauer, Bearded Sim Racer. Joining me tonight in the booth, per usual, is Eric Reed. Sean Yoder's not here. We also have with us tonight most of Three Pedal Mafia. Everyone say hello.
Most of.
Yeah, the one with the good hair in that picture, he ain't here.
Yep. The rest of us pretty folk are here.
Yeah.
So
I guess we should say our names, right?
So basically, let me fix this. So we'll do this. So there.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Nailed it.
That's
Hi,
it.
I'm Jeff. I'm the one at the bottom with no hair.
I'm Chris. I'm in the yellow. No.
No, you're not. You're Chris in the middle with red, and this is Chrissy. I'm in the yellow. Thanks.
Welcome, Chris and Chrissy and Jeff.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Chrissy. Une baguette.
Ajou?
le
Ajou?
Ajou.
Ajou.
What kind of...
Le bœuf à jus en un baguette avec fromage. Oh oui, oui.
Yes.
I'm totally on class here tonight. Clearly.
You are, yes, an asset. Thank you.
Yeah, man. If this whole COVID thing didn't happen, Chrissy and I would be in Côte d'Azur right now, getting ready to be in Le Mans next week. But now we're in Pennsylvania, not doing anything fun.
Oh, there goes
Yay.
Andre. As we put our camera on him. Yep. That's how that works out.
Do not re-enter. Now go. Now go.
Yeah,
now go.
Now you can go. Yeah.
That was a good safe re-entry there, Andre. That's nice.
I'm really glad
Well
that
done.
they made sure to install the steel-plated headlights for
You're gonna
all of
need
the
those.
clangs
All
that
the
are going to happen
clangs.
tonight.
Looks like the Class A field is headed down for the first time in the race to Mulsanne Corner, which is, of course, brought to you by the American stereotype of French people. Baguette and vin. Baguette et vin. Je suis tellement supérieur. Oui. I don't even remember what that means. That was Google Translate.
It's bread and wine, something better.
Yeah, bread and wine. Yeah.
So you type something in Google Translate, don't remember what it was, and then you still read it.
Yep.
I love it.
So what's
I do.
what's with the Roosters playing soccer? Like, I mean, I'm trying to think. It's like cockfighting, but not.
So the French. for whatever-
Baguette and wine, of course.
The mascot of the French national soccer team is a rooster, chicken. So they're chicken.
Okay.
Got it.
I thought it was a fighting chicken thing, you know.
And
like-
who is the
Oh, there we go.
black and white general looking dude? Who the heck is that?
It's Charles de Gaulle,
Oh, okay.
president
But,
of
yeah.
France.
I know who Charles de Gaulle
then
is. I just had no idea who that picture was.
I thought that dude was the president of France right there. Pierre Le Beret.
That's right. That's right. Pierre Le Beret. There's Chuck
There's 3 Wide Hotness down the, not
on the way to
Mulsanne
Indianapolis.
Street.
looks like,
There you
yeah.
go.
Coming out of Arnage. Look at that. Oh, there's the livery. It's a Liverpool livery, I believe, on the
Yes.
fourth Mustang in there.
Yes, they wanted to make sure that Phil got some liver because he said he wanted a car that looked like liver.
I don't like that kind of wordplay. Just make it a liver. I mean, how
Yeah.
hard is that?
Yeah.
Do like the Jetta getting in there
Oh,
and
neat.
wiping out
Oh.
everybody.
Clang. Yeah.
That's not a great place to die. So sorry, Jim McGuire.
There was so much keyboard or something going on there. It was 3 wide up the middle, and it was either full left or full right, and they still went for it. That takes courage to hold a controller and do something like that. So
Well, you're
Yeah.
assuming they knew that there were the other cars around them.
you're right. That is a big assumption that we made. You are correct.
So, are we playing by full-out Le Mans rules that you have to make it back to the paddock under your own power, or you're out, or can you get towed back in this?
I don't know how to set it up.
You can get towed back. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure if there's a way to make it otherwise.
Because that's the best part of watching is you get to see the team like passing tools through the fence to the driver still in his helmet, and Hans trying to like fix his car on the side of the Mulsanne.
Yeah.
That's a good time. Can we do that at like, New Jersey Motorsports Park?
That's the best place to do that. Could you imagine somebody like on the entrance to the front straight? Like, it would obviously be Vinny with the Beetle who would be out there like wailing on it with a hammer, but like, just right there where everybody's going 90,
I think it's more funny when the driver has no idea what they're doing, right? So, like, especially at Le Mans, right? Because the driver might be a gentleman driver, or somebody just shows up and says, "Okay, here." And then, how the heck do I fix
Donnie.
this crap that happened? Oh, Donnie, all over the place.
Is it Nate Adler? Nate Adler, is that who's leading their race right now?
Yes, sir.
So he is on the Mulsanne Straight and putting a big gap in the field.
Yeah, he's not messing around. As Donnie is messing around, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Donnie's definitely out of his element.
Yes.
Or is he in his element, maybe?
I love that
I'm
everyone
not sure.
calls him Dr. Florida Man. I think that's mental who actually
Yeah.
started calling him that.
Yeah, I think we coined it. Although he's supposed to get his oh no, he was supposed to get his racing wheel like now, like 2 days ago.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he was supposed to.
Yeah, he might have a racing wheel now.
No, clearly not.
He does not.
Sure, it's absolutely.
Unless he's got his yeah, no.
I don't
Driving
it's
like that.
possible. It's possible, but I don't think so. Yeah.
Unlikely, I will say.
Well, it
Just
might have
even-
arrived. He just hasn't plugged it in yet.
Even if he received his wheel, it doesn't mean he was going to use said wheel.
Good point.
We have a question in the chat for Chris and Chrissy. Were you going to race at Le Mans or just watch?
Yeah. Our checkbook isn't that big, so we were just gonna watch. But yeah, I'm sorry that we have misled you in thinking we were even close to that level.
It's not far off that people have asked that question. We said, "Oh, we're going to Le Mans." And they're like, "Oh, you gonna race?" No.
work usually, who just don't. Who,
Oh, you race? That's cool. Are you going? You're going to Le Mans? You're gonna race? No. We're gonna pay a lot of money to go sit in a stand, and it was gonna be amazing. And we're not
Well,
going now.
you two know a lot more about the actual presentation of the race than I do. Are there any like supporting events, like the day before? Do they have
Oh my
like,
gosh!
any kind of lower
Hour by-
classes or anything?
Hour by hour. There was from about probably Wednesday night, Thursday morning, till the race starts on Saturday afternoon. There's hour by hour things going on.
Yeah, there's they do a historic race in the morning, like a 3 or 4 hour one before.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's got to
There
be
was
incredible.
testing, and then there was besides meet and greets and different kinds of pictures with different people, but there was racing, there's practice and all. It's an epic event. I think they know that people are coming from all over the world to come to this event just to see what's the spectacle, and that's really what
yeah, I was just impressed by on the schedule that every half hour on the hour is wine and baguette tasting.
Yeah.
No, we were gonna sit in our little tent in the paddock that we bought, a little square, and we were just gonna eat our brie and baguette and wine.
Fromage.
Yeah.
Love fromage. Thanks. Una baguette avec le fromage.
That's Sitco sliding that Miata around.
Yeah, the Bear Pope car getting it work out. You know what? These cars are faster through the Porsche curves than I thought they'd be. That's pretty cool, actually.
Wow. The Bear Pope team is usually on the faster end of the stick, so
Yeah, valid.
So this song
Yeah,
is
I-
called Jazz in Paris. I have no idea. We're just going to go with it. Oh, this is perfect. This is so perfect.
Man, 3 wide? Let's do that. That
that's how
worked
3
out
wide works out.
the way I thought it was gonna.
It's France and it's night. It's a menage a trois when they do that.
No.
The one in the middle is Lucky Pierre.
I get that joke. Santiago Iglesias, by the way, is 3rd overall in a Miata right now.
And the cat says, "What?
In the SARD.
Bird?"
Santiago did send me an email with his Silly Hats Only entry for next Saturday's race, which is an actual 2016 Buick that he is taking all the inputs off the CAN bus system and then using them to control iRacing with his actual 2016 road car. Buick, I guess, is his. Maybe it's somebody he knows. I don't know.
Yeah, the Buick Roadmaster is actually his tow vehicle.
That's not a 2016 though.
Oh, 2016.
Oh,
No, yeah. How old is Santiago if he owns a 2016 Buick? He has to be like
He's-
70.
No, he's like 30s.
Huh.
Yeah.
And owns a Buick. Okay, cool.
Well, the 96 Roadmaster is his tow vehicle is a classic right
That is
there.
a great car. And actually, I'm kind of looking for one of those.
it's a long roof too. Tow with the long roof.
Of course it is.
G
Duh.
body.
Psh. That's like so on the Lemons Rally, like the Caprice wagon, Roadmaster wagon, that's like the E30
It's like the standard.
of rallies. Like that's just what you go to. It's a perfect car for it.
So I typed in accordion, and now I'm just playing songs that are on that list.
From the YouTube.
Yes,
Music
of course.
library.
Of course. Our leader is blinking out, and it's concerning me. He's back now.
I wonder who is he teamed with? Can we see that?
Yeah,
if he's
sure.
teamed with Matt Murphy, that would be twice. That's
Yep,
perhaps they've been plagued by that.
that is correct.
Yeah. So Matt Murphy was leading the race, I think 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think it was the. Oh, there he goes. Sees. Wow.
Oh, hey, oh,
And there's darkness.
engage cloaking device.
That's what it is. Thank you, Jeff. I can never remember that. It's perfect. I don't like this song. Let's find something to. Oh, this one's called Cat Circus.
There we go.
Cat Circus.
Big fan from the Philippines. Awesome. Man, what kind of cars are there in the Philippines? I don't know anything about what people
Toyotas,
drive
all
there.
Toyotas.
I feel like there's a lot of Korean cars in the Philippines.
Sure, now.
Yeah,
Current vehicles.
valid. I don't know if you guys saw on the Instagram that on the Lemons Instagram, I spotted a Toyota Crown Super Saloon 2 on the street that somebody had parked here.
Ooh.
Posted it up there. Amazing. And Phil insists they're big in New Zealand, so I don't know if that's true or not, but they're pretty bitchin' wagon.
Cat circus. It's amazing. Ah, nice. Twitch viewer from Australia. Wirecat, you are awesome.
Hey, how about that? We have a Lemons franchise of sorts in Australia. We license all the Lemon stuff to a guy down there named Sean Herbert, who runs half dozen or so races a year in Australia, and goes to cool places. Like they go to Wakefield Park. They've gone to the Thunderdome, which was it's like a roval. It was the only like major paved oval they had there, and then has a road course attached to it. So yeah, he takes the Lemons, the Australian version of Lemons, to some pretty cool places. Worth looking that up. It's 24 hours
Yeah.
of Lemons Australia, and there's also a New Zealand one. So
I heard the interview with the, was it the New Zealand?
no, that was
Guy?
Sean. That was Sean.
That was Shaw, okay.
Yeah.
Was excellent. Was that Thursday therapy?
Therapy, yeah. So we do Lemons Thursday therapies at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, where we kind of have a guest on, talk about whatever, and then we go over the Lemons car spotting stuff that people post on Instagram and kind of talk about the cars and what we know about them. And usually we have a story or two about some of them. So we'll go through that stuff. And then every Tuesday we have a new episode of something up on our YouTube. It's either a recap, wrap up from a race, which since we haven't had any races in 4 months, they're instead Lemons World episodes, which is a 2 or 3 minute episode where we talk about some aspect of Lemons or cars or whatever it may be. So new content every Tuesday and Thursday for us. Shameless plug over. Pete Connolly watching from England at 3 a.m. My God, man. And thank you.
Here's a look at our
Yeah, the-
Class C leader, Greg Schnittinger, in the 15 right-hand drive Miata for Black Maven Motorsports. He is an 8th overall, first in class for Class C. He looks like about a minute and a half behind the overall leader right now.
That's crazy.
Leader-
The 1 or 2 guys are way out ahead of everybody.
Yeah. So here's our leader, who is coming into Mulsanne Corner.
Sponsored,
Sorry.
of course, by America's
Sorry.
Concepts for Rich People.
Yeah,
Yep, no,
there you go. Sorry, it's a process to get it all there. There we go. So here's the actual corner. There we go. Oh yeah. Okay. I remember Christian Bale talking about that. Got it.
Go on. Christian Bale, should I know about this?
Yeah, in Ford versus Ferrari.
Oh, yeah. That's
when,
right.
when he's sitting out on the runway with the kid and he's talking about a lap around Le Mans.
Ah, yeah. I've only seen that movie once. And I need to watch it many more times because there's a lot of little Easter eggs in it that
Yes.
I think I need to pay attention to.
Alex Gurney got to
makes
play
me want-
his dad, Dan Gurney, in the movie. That's pretty cool.
Oh, damn! I didn't even catch that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I think Tanner Faust is in there. You know him. He always sneaks his way into these car movies.
Yeah.
It makes me want to stare at every competitor I pass on the track for a long
Yeah. The,
Yeah. I always like that.
They didn't do the 15 shifts trope, but they did the wheel to wheel
Yeah,
stare.
they didn't do the Days of Thunder, or actually not Days of Thunder. Days of Thunder. They're downshifting at Daytona because you do that. But no, like it's Fast and Furious where they have 27 pattern gears. Yeah.
It's a Mack truck that they're shifting.
No, lady, he was not speaking in his death metal Batman voice. He was speaking in his British accent.
That's right.
It was
I
spot
think
on.
my favorite Christian Bale, of course, is the angry, don't get in my sight while I'm trying to be Batman voice.
Oh, I like the was it American Psycho character?
Oh,
Let's play Susudio and chop people up. That's a fun thing.
This song is called Tributaries of the Bayou. Enjoy.
I think what I miss most about watching the broadcast versus being on the broadcast is hearing the songs that are being played. So
I could play it through my Discord mic so you guys would hear it, but then it would just be like in your ear the whole time, and you couldn't. Yeah, it's not good. I tried that the first week. It wasn't good.
it's just a sacrifice we're gonna have to make.
That's
You
right.
know.
so on the chat, we would love to be talking more about the race, but just like you out there, we can't see nothing.
Can't see shit, Ken.
There's a black car.
Okay,
coming
so
to a turn.
Nathaniel Adler in a Mustang has an 11 second. I'll knock this out real quick, and then we can go back to doing what we were doing. So Nathaniel Adler has an 11-second lead. He's driving a Mustang. Okay, and then second place is Doug Ellison for Tiagi Reserves in a Mustang. Also, again, like I said, he's 11 seconds behind. Although he
That's
was
the
three
race.
seconds faster last lap than the leader, though. So we'll just keep an eye on that gap. We'll have to keep an eye on it. In third place is Amanda Tully kicking ass with the Momrath Cheaties Trolley entry. Looks
hang on.
like
Isn't Santiago Iglesias in third place?
he's actually in fourth place. Right, they are battling. This is an on-screen
him.
battle right
Oh,
now
okay.
for P3. So yeah, we'll show that while it's going
Wow.
on as I play Cat Circus again.
Yep,
And
he just passed.
Time for a
it.
Cat
That
Circus.
Miata
Time for a Cat
just
Circus.
passed a
There
Mustang.
we go.
Yeah. Pierre says, "Oh, look at that! The Miata is in third or fourth." Ho, ho, ho.
Matt Sitko in a Miata for Bear Pope, Class B, running second in class, fifth overall. He is 1 minute and 26 seconds behind the overall leader. And then we'll go down and look through Black Maven Motorsports, still leading the way in Class C in a right-hand drive Miata. That's Greg Schnittinger. He has, it looks like, a 2-minute lead over Peter McDade in a Solstice. There we go. So the 09 here is, let's see, coming down to Indianapolis, maybe?
It's like his last lap he had a drive-through or something.
Yeah, so there's that. Yep. And the Class C leader is just past the start-finish line. So he has almost a half a lap lead on second place. And that was your in-race, what's actually happening race update. Oh, and I forgot about this cool thing I can click too. Thank you. Thank you to Faith. Oh, you guys can't see it on stream because it's behind stuff and I can't move it. But anyway, there's a race summary that you can't see. After the Cat Circus.
It's really cool.
Hold on, we're getting there. There it is. So you can kind of see it. But yeah.
Lead change in 0.
0 laps
Very
remaining.
exciting
1
race.
hour and 37 minutes. Yeah. Well, thank you to the Faith Insurance Agency for bringing you this wholehearted half-ass in-race summary update.
Is that an actual plug or?
Yeah, well, sure. Well, it's on there. There's your top 5. That works.
So is
You can
Cat
see
a
that.
robot suit, but they're not actually paying us.
Oh yeah. Well, you know.
Everything's fine.
And then there's some track information that you can't see because it's behind the French cat. Hold on, as go back to.
Le meow. Le
This-
meow.
There we go. Another song I haven't heard before. Enjoy. This is Zydeco Piano Party.
Hey, I like Zydeco. There you go. 66 degrees, man. That's perfect Le Mans weather. Although
Did you know that
Jay-
the
Jason will tell you
the
that's
track elevation is 100? Ooh, Oh,
wow.
that was Class C leader getting yeeted by it. Let's go back and see what happened there.
I think
The thing about perfect Le Mans weather means that it's not raining. It always rains at Le Mans.
that's Jason's statement. I'm telling you. So,
Wow. So these two, is that a Miata or a Miata and a Solstice? I can't tell.
two
there.
Miatas.
It's two
different-
Miatas, and then I'm guessing this Mustang doesn't realize that there's a turn. Yeah, that's what's going to happen here.
It totally blew the braking zone.
No
There
idea.
it goes.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go straight.
Watch the headlights on the right. Watch the headlights on the right. Now brake rotors. He shoots the gap between the two Miatas. Oh, he does make contact. That is the
just
15th.
barely.
That was the leader. And it looks like we now have a lead change. Oh, yeah, he's off now. It looks like we have a lead change for Class C as we're watching this replay. So that Mustang, which I think might have been Mike Porter. I'm not 100% sure on that. No.
Is it the 281, I think?
Yeah, there we go. So yeah, there we go. So yeah, you saw it happen, folks.
Press F in the chat for the Class C leader.
Yeah, that was he's already down to 24th now in the pits.
Bummer.
Lady
Yeah, it's a
Antebellum reminding us that in France, Mustangs don't eat people. People eat Mustang. If you don't know, horse is a common edible animal.
There you go. Delicacy, even.
I don't know if they think I think they think it's low quality.
I see.
It's I ordered a steak and they brought me a horse.
Sorry, Ron. We felt obligated, and we try to interact with our audience. And whenever they demand race updates, we give it to them. So sorry to make you feel sorry if you lost your safe place for a minute, but welcome back. We'll stop talking about actual racing that's on the screen. Let you watch that. Those trees are really cool. I could see. Could you imagine, like, back in the day when there was nothing there but hay bales and like.
And people
all
standing
those,
behind.
yeah, I do like you see all the videos like with the rally cars and all the people diving out of the way and stuff. Well, that's probably what it was like because back then there were no video cameras, so who knows? Like, you know.
Yeah, if you go on YouTube, Mike Hawthorne, they did an onboard, like, they set a camera like in his Jaguar and he like drove around the track like during the non-race, like, because it's public roads, so you can drive the course when the track's not hot, basically. So it's just him taking his race car around, like, on a Tuesday and talking about it, but yeah, it's crazy to see that there's no barriers anywhere. There's just trees that you can smoke and buildings and all kinds of stuff. It's totally wild.
I do have to also say that the oops. I'm gonna pause my thing here. I do have to say the headlight.
If I Had a Chicken.
Oh, good. The headlight effects are amazing. They really look. They really have spent a lot of time making sure that iRacing looks fantastic.
The fantastic lighting brought to you by Top Flight Computers.
There you go.
Get you some good lighting with a Top Flight computer. I literally have everything turned on and all the way up. So there you go.
Nice.
Thank you, Top Flight Computers.
Sucking out all the internet.
Yes.
That's what we do. Go through the field a little bit, maybe. It looks like Tom Lamino's in, I think, 14th I saw. Anton Lovett in 16th, both very long-time Lemons racers. Like pit stop time for Tom. And there's
How much fuel do we give the Jetta? Do we expect them to last a little longer than some of the
it looks
gas
like
cars?
everybody's coming up just short of a half hour. So maybe the fuel consumption's just a tad more than we expected. Or maybe there's some bent body panels
Could be.
prompting that.
Knowing Lamino, it's something broke. It's the Volkswagen.
Yeah.
Something broke.
He has broken the internet.
Harry Hernandez in YouTube chat says, please keep doing this even when quarantine is over. Love the races. Thank you, Harry. We'll do our best.
Yeah, I think there's some plan to continue it, probably on a smaller scale, because we have to start devoting more of my time to helping set up the races and do the logistical parts of that and all the things that entails. But there's still going to be some room to do this at least one night a week, I think. And it's a lot of fun. Basically this serves as some kind of offbeat Lemons podcast while something else is happening, basically. So we're happy to do this kind of stuff.
The Mustang just hit the chip before the chicane. Nice.
Whenever we're back to real life but still doing this for fun, we definitely need to continue to incorporate Trash Tuesdays and gladiator races and stuff, because that's totally the most fun of any of them.
I think it's as Lemons as we can get, is to take something that exists and just use it totally the wrong way. I think that's everything that Lemons is.
Let's be inappropriate with this thing other people take seriously.
Yeah,
Go.
basically that. Yeah.
Ryan, do we have a close run for first and second? It looks like there's no gap in the telemetry.
Nathaniel Adler lost the lead somewhere around there.
They have about a... Okay, it's because the leader's in the pits, and second place is... Wow, this song's weird. And second place is just now. Yeah. Oh, second... Wow. Hang on to it, Nathaniel.
Passing on the grass.
All right, this song is weird. All right, enough of that. Let's go. Let's see here. Nice.
So Nathan
United
Adler
States
has pit,
Marine
but
brand. Nice.
kept the same driver? Is that what happened here?
Yeah, I think the driver is supposed to be half and half for the 2 hours. Something like that. I don't really know what I'm talking about, so I'm just going to roll with that.
Do you ever? And we
No,
always love it
God,
anyway. No. It's fine. Oh, E.
Look at that in chat. Sounds like pre-World War II. Is that
Vichy?
Vichy? Vichy. Yeah, see, that's look at that. I did it. Yes.
Was there a Vichy France before World War II?
If there was, this song would have been playing there.
There you go.
No one knows, so you could just guess.
Looks like the lead changed again. If the
7.9 seconds according to that, but let's see here. Yeah, it looks like 136 is just now going on to the Mulsanne Straight. Second place is getting ready to go onto the Mulsanne Straight now. Yep, there we go. So
Don't mess up. You only have an hour and a half left.
right.
That's some closing speed there. Look at that.
So the leaders at
It's so crazy.
Leaders at the first chicane now, and here's second place. Sorry, go ahead, Chrissy.
It just really looks like the race. It's what's awesome about iRacing. I remember watching, we always watch 24 Hours of Le Mans, even when we weren't going to be there in person, but just how real iRacing looks is so awesome. Really cool.
Yep, I agree with you. It's a lot of people take that kind of stuff for granted, being like an audiovisual person. I've been with these people since like 1999 with NASCAR Racing 99 on PC, the Papyrus group, which is the same people that do iRacing. It's the same core people, the same core. Some of the code that's in this was actually part of the original sim title, in the Indianapolis 500 simulator. If anyone out there is familiar with it, some of that core code is part of what has made this. So Dave has never stopped working on his baby, and this is what it has turned into. So, Dave Kemmer, if you, for some strange reason, end up watching this and hear this, or if someone that knows you watches this and wants you to know, I just want to let you know, man, that's you've changed my life, and a lot of us, you've changed our lives. So, thank you so much.
I'm sure I'm not.
So is that
the Papyrus game to turn damage off and drive counter course at Indy and have
That's
500 mile an hour accidents?
That's right. We used to take restrictor plates off cars, all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah.
Is that original stuff written in like Cobalt, or what is that system that like runs all the unemployment systems that no one can change now? Cobalt. Yeah.
Cobalt. I think it's BOAL. Cobalt.
Yeah. Cobalt.
Yeah. I asked my brother, who is in his mid 50s and is probably not mid 50s, early 50s. Hey man, you know anybody who programs COBOL? He's like, man, I am not that old.
There you go. Stunt Granny in the chat has it. COBOL.
COBOL, thank you.
I learned.
So
I
we do
learned
have we do have a Jetta 4th overall. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just making a dumb joke about Q Basic. Anyway,
Yeah, it looks like Santiago has fallen out of the top 3.
He's down in 6th. He is car number 2 in the first chicane. Back on the Mulsanne straight.
Probably still leading C, I assume.
He is actually in Class B, and he's
Is it
running
B? Yeah.
in second. He is the 255 Damn It Doug Racing is actually leading Class B. That's Peter
in a
Moden.
Jetta.
Yep. Let's see here. Let me just turn on another song. Ooh, this sounds like it could be okay. All right. Manatoli is running in 5th. She takes out a cone. She is going through
The cone deserved it. Let's not get excited, all right?
Trying to figure out where she is. She just went through the second chicane, headed towards the Mulsanne corner.
And we could talk a little bit about her livery there, because people are probably wondering. So the 3 drivers all put part of their livery on this car. So it has Cheaties, Momrath, and the trolley from Mr. Rogers all mashed together in the same car. And if you could see it, because if there was actually light, you would know it was wonderful.
we'll just
How original.
everybody close your eyes.
Oh, there, see, I saw a little.
Pretend to see it.
It's sort of purple.
That's a good livery right there.
Get a glance of it. I love it, with just the little bit of lighting.
This is the time that you imagine things.
That's
What
right.
do you think it should look like? Oh, good. I see it. Right
It's
there.
fantastic. We should keep this camera on
If you
the
could,
entire race. Oh, I see some brake glow.
this this section of the race is brought to you by The Secret, that book that Oprah was promoting years ago. Where if you just envision it, you can make it happen.
So inspirational. Oh, look at that brake rotor glow.
It's really good, actually. That happened.
Hey, Jeff, I was.
Good.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was envisioning a motor going into a car that we own today. How'd that go? Is it real? Is it
I
not
mowed
real?
my lawn.
You were mowing your lawn yesterday.
You all showed up, and I ran out of gas.
Ooh, Soul Glow right there.
That is
Beautiful.
That is actually a nice camera angle.
Ooh, this is reggae. This should be good. I'm just playing songs that are listed as happy.
Yeah, why not?
That's not bad, actually. Nice. The Mini Vandals featuring Mama playing Momo Do.
Man, the whole reggae record store thing.
How about Momo Don't?
By the way, it's a long story. But basically, like all the record stores in Jamaica would also have a recording studio in the back and a pressing, like a basic pressing plant. And they'd record like a song, 2 songs, an A and a B side. And they'd press them in the back and they'd have them for sale like the same day. It was totally wild.
I put it on Focus on Crashes just for you, Phoenix. Just now.
Excellent.
Did Phil just join? Oh, what? Oh.
No, don't tease the audience like that.
So, Eric, you know about the 2 major Jamaican forms of music that were born from those back country or back record store studios, right?
Go on.
There's obviously reggae and ska.
Right.
Sorry, I'm reading
Scott,
There's like wonderful line through that course. Sorry, gotta go. Let's talk about racing here.
I highly recommend reading chat if you're not. Oh my god. Hold on. One gold mine. This section is brought to you by John Cena. And John Cena, you can't see him, but his time is now. Sorry, Chrissy, you were saying.
Oh no, we were just watching those cars go through, and I'm not sure what it was. A Solstice it drove right through the grass, right all through. Did not travel on the track.
It was
a great line.
That was his Joker.
That's
Joker
how he
lap.
drives.
Yeah, it's
Joker
a joke.
lap.
Joker lap. Very good. Oh, there's Soggy.
Still Kane in it.
Yeah.
Soggy turns out not a bad driver. He just drives crap in real life, so he can't actually tell.
And he has bad internet apparently too.
Yeah, that too.
Terrible.
There's an over the shoulder shot for
firmly
you.
in the camp that I'm firmly in the camp that driving a Simca 1204 in real life makes you a better driver because you have to be. And
Oh yeah.
I drove Soggy Simca when Spank
Keep
still
the
had
reggae
it.
vibe going.
Yeah, at Button Willow when Spank said, please blow this thing up, please. And I tried, and then like the oil pressure line sprung a leak, and I saw zero oil pressure, and I kept caning it all the way into the paddock, and it was just a loose oil pressure line. We tightened it up, and that was it.
So let's not. We should mention that Soggy is running a racetrack-related livery, the Maginot Lime.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it's all dark. It's all black. Yeah.
Oh, we have a message from Dr. Florida Man Donnie. In the chat, he is saying, Chrissy, shipping confirmation for the wheel came to me Friday. Should have it next Thursday.
So does that mean you're actually going to use it Thursday? I mean, because you have it doesn't mean you're going to use it.
We have no race Thursday. We're racing next Saturday and Sunday, which is a great opportunity, by the way, to point out that this is night one, of course, of the YU Ruin Classic. Night two is next Saturday night, where we're going to have a bunch of trash races at Le Mans. It's going to be great. The highlight of that, I think, is going to be the night race like this, except for none of the cars has headlights. So that'll be great. I may also turn off the racing line so you can't actually see where the track goes. That's probably the right way to do that. And then Sunday,
Yeah, I would definitely recommend turning the driving aid off. Definitely.
Yep. And then
Absolutely.
Your brain is awesome, by the way. Go ahead.
my brain is awesome.
Yeah, or whoever, you or Nate or whoever came up with that. That's good stuff.
Oh yeah,
So that would be a
Our
Camaro
lemon
and
brains are very lemon.
that was a collaboration because it was like, oh, we'll do an endurance race to start, and then it's like, well, we can't do the Camaros because they won't be able to see at night. And they were like, wait, they won't
that's
be
a
able
good
to see at night. So yeah, it was.
So what are the vehicles that are going to be available for that? Because I'm definitely joining that race. I got to work on my livery.
Camaro Legend,
Camaro
the truck.
Legend, Pro 2, maybe Spec Racer Ford. We'll see.
Oh, I don't have. I haven't driven the Spec Race
IndyCar.
No IndyCar. We don't need. Well,
Skippy,
an hour.
damage model. Parts will break off.
yeah.
So, and we're on board with Raymond Muratori in the Black Maven Motorsports car. I'm surprised in this dark he's not blinded, but good for him.
I'm muting my mic now so I can chuckle at the inside joke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Lady Auburn mentioning the Maginot Line, and for when you want to protect your country, only for the invaders to go around you. That was the joke with the Simca being an incredibly slow car. It said Maginot Line on the side, and on the back it said just go around. So knowing that he wasn't able to keep up with literally any other car. And I believe that car set the all-time record for the slowest lap under power at Road America. Something like 5 minutes, something like that. Chris St. Mary in the maximum effort car. He's driving with Jim McGuire. They co-drive a Corvette in real life. C4 Corvette.
It's Corvette, man.
Corvette magazine, mate.
I was just trying to think about what it would be like to drive the Simca at Road America, because I drove it only in our 500 horsepower AMG Mercedes when we were on one lap of America, and that was pretty fun. And we were going 140 down the straights, like, you know, it was something else. And the Simca at Buttonwillow, I'm sitting on the straights doing my taxes because I got all the time in the world while trying to stay out of everyone else's way. So I can't imagine what it would be like to go down the straights at Road America in the Simca. Like,
I do know that when it attempted to go up the hill, you know, the hill on the main straight right before the start finish line is super steep. It's like a 70-foot hill.
oh yeah.
Yeah, so I know that it lost an incredible amount of speed just going up that hill, and it didn't have to begin with, so it was doing like 45 maybe by the time it hit the start finish line.
I mean, that's about right.
Blistering pace.
That's right. Stunt Granny saying Corvette magazine ? Oh baby, got to catch you up on that. So go to the Lemons YouTube channel and watch the Lemons World episode where we talk about Corvettes. But the people who founded Lemons, at the time that they founded Lemons, were still making Corvette magazine as automotive journalists. So
Editors of some sort, right?
yes, publishers and editors. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't have any strong feelings about it at all anymore. Don't worry. No.
Man.
So we should quick mention of actual race talk here. It looks like first and second can be covered under about a 15 or 16 second blanket, followed by number 3, 888, the Cheedy Mome Rath trolley car, 2 minutes and 44 seconds behind.
Watch out, a marital 8 is going to be thrown out of that 888 car soon.
There we go. Stunt Granny has caught on and now says Corvette magazine.
Corvette magazine, yeah.
Corvette magazine. So I was out and about this weekend.
No, you weren't. You're lying to us.
I was actually, and literally, it was my day.
You left the house?
I
What?
left the house. It was weird. I have an electronic lock that Jay lifted for this weekend, so it's very nice of him. Have a free leg that I can walk around on. Anyways,
You cut the device off your ankle and were
Yeah,
able to park the
that's right.
apartment.
that's right. I put my
No one's checking.
on the dog. Anyway, everywhere I went was Corvettes, like literally everywhere. There Corvettes out for the weekend, and so it was literally my girlfriend being totally sick of me going Corvette magazine.
We did see our first real life in person on the street C8s today while we were driving to Home Depot and back buying various assorted parts to do our boat restoration. But, I've seen them at car shows and stuff like that.
Orbital?
Yeah, my old one broke.
Oh, I think we lost Chris for a
We
moment.
lost Chris.
No.
Oh, there.
Chrissy whistling task. No, we poured one out for my old random orbital that has been my
Simplified.
buffer sander thing for years.
Excellent. Yeah. No, at one point, sorry, going back to the Corvette thing, like I was sitting like just outside the street and there was a dude in like a 62 Corvette, like stalling it repeatedly at a light. And then Alante passed on the other side of him, and I just missed getting a photo of the Alante and the Corvette together. That's like the American dream.
Yes. Well,
Did
Jeff, you were.
Go ahead.
I said that we were talking about this the other day. You as a C6 owner understand you don't have a set of New Balance shoes or jorts or a Corvette jacket. So, like, you were giving us a good idea of what goes on at these Corvette club things. Like, oh, hey, you like your Corvette? Yeah, I like my Corvette too, right? And that's the extent of the meeting.
I love the discussion about how special everybody's Corvette is.
Right. Yeah.
Well, my Corvette's special because it only has 100 miles on it. Well, my Corvette is special because it's only been out twice, and I rubbed it with a diaper. And my Corvette is special because it has 872 kilometers and has never seen the rain.
Well, it's not even that. It's like comparing like the RPO packages, like with the dealer codes. Like, did you get?
Oh, no. The average
RP9?
65-year-old at a Corvette club meeting does not even know his RPO code.
That's valid. That's internet Corvette people, which is
you
a
ask
totally
them-
different thing.
You ask them, which motor you got? The V8.
Yeah. The V8. What are you, some kind of idiot?
Got the V8 in it.
Yeah.
Jeff, your Corvette is special because it is not garaged and lives outside all the time. That's why.
Got a cover.
Still, though, among most C6 owners who rub it with a diaper, yours is special
That's true.
for that reason.
And since we've inherited it from my wife's mother, we've tripled the miles on it. She had it for the 12 years. I'm doing my math, and we had it for 3.
So how many miles do you tell the Corvette people it has on it?
It actually has under 15,000 because we got it with 4,000.
I
We
see.
just broke 10.
What color, dare I ask, is your Corvette?
Oh, Monterey Red.
Monterey red.
Yes.
Perfect.
Not Champion Red. Monterey Red.
Yeah, champion red. Okay.
Now, Stunt Granny has it down total. My base model C5 is super rare because it's only one of 350 made in silver with a manual transmission
There you go.
for the 2001 model year.
That's totally it.
Exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah, 200%. Nailed it.
Don't lowball me.
Yeah. Yeah.
45K or best offer. She put right after.
Yeah, that's the thing that I will never understand about Corvette owners is they think their cars are worth so much money. Let's Judge Phil in the chat.
Yeah,
That's
really.
usually a good precursor to
Oh, good. That means I can shut my mic for the next hour. So,
As soon as he comes
and
on,
he's
I'm going to
going
go
off
upstairs and get some
Richard,
ice cream.
so.
The French cat says, I love this view. I could watch it go round and round all day long.
although we need to watch C'était un rendezvous if we're going to get all French on stuff.
Valid. Totally valid.
Yeah. That alone makes me want to get a W108 Mercedes. Just how good that is. Plus, they just seem like a cool classic to own.
I believe
So are we staring at a Mustang wheel there?
that we have Judge Phil in the commentary booth. How you doing, Phil?
Oh, I'm doing all right. You know, I've been musing on a car that we had never thought about that much for Lemons that we must have. I think I know, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes. You just
Yeah.
emailed me about it, I believe.
Yeah, the Pontiac G3, which is the Pontiac badged version of the first generation of Aveo. And it pathetically was one of the last Pontiac badged cars sold. I mean, how more lemony does it get than a 2010 Pontiac G3? We can assume they sold it rather radical markdowns in 2010, if you know what I'm saying. You know, like everything must go. You know, like every carpet store in your town has everything must go sale. Well, that's what Pontiac dealerships were like. And over the corner, you know, where nobody was really willing to go, here's the poor little forlorn G3 waiting for a buyer. I'm sure it was sold at bargain basement prices, thus perfect for our race.
Well, I'm sure the Aveo could be had for equally bargain basement price right next door at the Chevy dealer.
Except,
So
so
they
this
had-
is the off-brand of Aveo, Jeff.
Yeah,
Like, this
that's
is
what I'm
even
saying.
worse.
So
I'm
they
getting
had
some
to,
really cool echo here.
they had to cut it down even below the regular Aveo cheapness.
Oh, I know. It's because I also had the YouTube on. Okay, because it all went back to.
Say,
boy,
Phil, have you
never
taken
mind.
any psychedelics this evening to have the
It was kind of like that. I was thinking, man, I would have known, you know, if I'd had some. And they've decriminalized mushrooms in Colorado, and we actually had a bribe stencil based on that. And I was thinking, oh, great, the legalization of cannabis here knocked 80 IQ points off the general population. What we need now is mushroom-enhanced drivers on every road. It's going to be great, especially the ones like driving Subaru STIs while they're vaping. They're also doing some shrooms. It's going to be so good. But apparently, it's a really select few that can get through every day, all day, while flying on mushrooms.
What about Meow Meow? Did you possibly have Meow Meow?
I don't. Is that even legal anywhere now? I mean, I'm still a little puzzled about Meow Meow's alleged legality.
I have no idea.
But back to the Pontiac G3.
Yep.
Sure, you could get
on the G3 there.
you could get an Aveo and put Pontiac badges on it. I mean, that'd be fine.
Cheating.
But if you could find a real one, that'd be even better.
But how many of the Pontiacs that are labeled with a G have we had? Like, I know we had one G8 down at CMP, but like we haven't had a.
We've had a G6, I think.
No 5s or 6s yet.
No, really? Well, the G6, the very last Pontiac ever built was a G6. Allegedly, although I suspect that a G3 was built in South Korea. One of my favorite things about the Aveos and all the Daewoo's that were sold in the U.S. was that the CEO of Hyundai, no lawsuits there. CEO of Daewoo actually fled to Vietnam to escape jail, and then he sneaked back into Korea and went to jail. Like that, now that's a car company. And if you're going to drive your Leganza just knowing that the CEO of your company actually did hard time, I mean, that's quite a car. But anyway, yeah, the very last Pontiac supposedly was a G6, but it just depends on when the factory building the Daewoo Kalos, or Kalos is how it was pronounced. But it turns out they still build the Aveo both in Ukraine and Russia right now. It's like the Zaz Vita, and I forget what the Russian version is called. It's some car company I've never heard of. But yeah, they're basically like the 2003 Aveo. It's so good. So you could badge it as that too if you really had to.
Soviet Russia, Aveo build you.
Well, they're not Soviet anymore. I mean, back then, they had some principles to go with their thuggery and oligarchy, and now they just have thuggery and oligarchy with no principles.
So I have a quiz time for you, Phil.
Okay.
According to Car Gurus, the most expensive Pontiac G3 in the country has 52,000 miles and is located in Bakersfield, California. What do you think the list price is?
The armpit of California.
2009 Pontiac G3.
Actually, Bakersfield is really much nicer than its suburb of Oildale. So I'm going to say, somebody's trying to sell an 09 G3 with low miles on it in Bakersfield. I mean, are we talking about what they want to get or what?
The list price. I'll give you like a $1,500 window. Let's see if you can catch it.
I'm just gonna say they probably, if it's a dealership, they probably want like $2,800 for it.
$6,995.
Wow. Well, I mean, how much down though? I mean, it's all about the monthly payment.
Yeah,
Jeff, right. They'll get you approved though. That's the important part.
They're estimated $131 a month monthly payment.
And that's why people buy new Mitsubishis now, is because they're very helpful and friendly about getting you financing, and they give you a big warranty. I mean, sure. The Mitsubishis, there are two Mitsubishis you can buy right now. Neither one of them is very good, but they're good deals, So I think that Aveo is not a good deal, or G3, sorry. But it doesn't, the Sonic is actually the same car, it's just the updated, facelifted version of it. So I guess you could get a Sonic and badge it as a G3, and nobody would really know the difference. And
most people don't know G3 exists at all.
Well, that's kind of like the Saab 9.4. I mean,
I didn't even know about that.
I didn't either until I just found out about there's somebody in Florida trying to sell one for some ungodly sum.
They made 12 of them, really.
No, they made 800, and of which several hundred were sold in the U.S. They do exist. They are out there. What Cadillac shitty SUV is it based on?
The XT, whatever the fuck it is.
SRX.
Well, there's an Opel. It's. And actually, I don't think I'm letting any cats out of bags here when I bring this up. Nick and Eric and I have discussed we're going to have an evil penalty. Remember the AMC flashcard penalty? Well, we're going to do terrible 2010s GM sort of SUV-looking unibody car penalty, where you have to identify the nose of the Terrain and distinguish it from some other terrible GM crypto SUV. So nothing with a full frame.
Torrent or the
Right.
Transverse or the
Saturn Outlook.
Traverse, Saturn Outlook.
The Outlook. Yeah.
I mean, they're all Holden, Vauxhall, Daewoo, Isuzu. What's the last one? The one in Russia. GM of Anyway, it doesn't matter. They're all
You want to know that answer, and you don't. So what are we going to do?
they're all mashups of. They all started out from the Opel sort of parts bin, basically, because Opel sort of became
anything for themselves. Really.
No, but Opel did a lot of basic engineering work that others, especially like Isuzu and Daewoo and Chevrolet. I mean, for example, the Chevette was basically an Opel design that they first started selling them in Brazil because they figured, let's see if this thing's pretty obsolete, but maybe they'll like it in Brazil. And like they did, so we had it here till '87. That's essentially an Opel design.
What about suspension by Lotus on the Impulse? That was the same thing, though, wasn't it?
Well, not quite as good as, Actually, in Brazil, they had some versions of the Chevette we never got, like the four-door notchback Chevette. I mean, that's a fine machine.
That's a fine machine. Speaking of fine machines, according to Car Gurus, the closest I can find a Chevy Aveo, an 09, so same year as the G3, with 50,000 miles, also on a dealer lot in Sheridan, Colorado.
Oh man, that's right next to me. Sheridan is maybe 3 miles from my house. In fact, there's a good junkyard there, and that's where that car's going to be soon.
Would you believe that Chevy Aveo can be had for $4,500?
I just think there's a
screaming deal.
There's a basic disconnect between who would like to get prices and real prices for Aveos, because Aveos started showing up in junkyards at about age 3, and the Aveo is always what you got when you went to the rental car counter and they were out of everything and they had to downgrade you. Like, well, I'm sorry, sir, but all we've got left is the Aveo or the Sonic, which was the Aveo with, I don't know, worse mileage.
I had an Aveo for a rental in Alaska, which is probably the worst place to have a Chevy Aveo as a rental.
Well, at least it's a Chevy.
There's some tremendous French going on in the chat. If you would like to pronounce more stuff.
My French is kind of rusty, and by that I mean absolutely non-existent.
Oh, you missed earlier. Chris and Chrissy were supposed to be at Le Mans right now.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
Yeah, so that's why they're on the broadcast tonight. There was a whole group of lemons that were going. Dr. Mom.
Oh, yeah, I know.
There's 27 of us that were supposed to be there right now.
Yeah, and, I was thinking this year would be the year that I would go to that giant American car show in Stockholm, which happens on July 4th, but that's not happening. So, yeah, instead, we're talking about the Pontiac G3 and wishing we had one.
Somebody brought up the Dodge Attitude, Phil. Are you
The
familiar?
Dodge Attitude? What the hell? That sounds great, but I don't remember it.
The Wikipedia says,
Wow.
It was a Hyundai Accent rebadged as a Dodge.
You're kidding me.
And then in 2015, it switched over to being a Mirage that they sold
Wait. Did they sell this thing in the U.S.?
in Mexico.
Oh, okay. Well, that means you might find something like San Diego. I mean, you see a lot of weird Mexican market cars down there.
Man, Dodge Attitude is such a...
I mean, we actually had a Chevrolet Chevy, which is a Mexican market Opel of some sort, show up in a Colorado pick and pull. I mean, I'm sure somebody brought it across the border, drove it up here, and then went to the DMV, and they just sort of stared blankly at them and said, fine, let it get crushed.
Yeah. A456-987 talking about the Pontiac T1000, which was this Chevette.
I've seen those in the junkyard. I mean, that happens.
Yeah.
So, the T1000 kind of was a thing. And, I mean, they sold quite a few of them. I mean, they'd amortized the cost of the Chevette by about 1975, and it cost them, about the same as it cost to make, I don't know, like a box of Pop-Tarts by the 80s. And so, you had a lot of choices for cheap, crappy cars in 1987. I mean, you could get a Pontiac Le Mans, which was a terrible Daewoo, and you could get, Ford Festiva. I believe that was the first year for that. But the Chevette could be gotten for even cheaper. The Chevette was competing pretty directly against the Hyundai Excel, and that's saying something.
It's competing directly with walking. It was like, well, you can't afford any car, so.
I mean, the Chevette worked. It was not anywhere near the worst car GM sold during the 80s. So there's
It's
that.
a car.
Exactly, it's a car.
Man, speaking of a car,
Kind of like the celebrity afterward, but
the GM front wheel drive A bodies that they built for 15 years without changing anything is probably my favorite GM anything. You know, the 96 Oldsmobile Cutlass Sierra that looked exactly like it did in 1982.
Well, they just kept selling them. I mean, and actually the continuation of the A body GM, which I believe, was that it? Was that the last A body, or was there a Buick one that continued in after that?
the old Cutlass was the last one, wasn't it? Or it was that or the Buick Century.
Oh, and that reminds me. This is a good time to bring up this dream that I had last night. You guys are gonna like this.
Okay.
I had this dream that I got arrested for
Your
something.
dream.
This is very relevant to our conversation. There's
go ahead.
there's no perversion in it.
I'll come back to
Unfortunately.
Corey Dickman.
So I was convicted of some unnamed crime, and my sentence was I had to sell Jello Biafra's late 90s Olds Cutlass Supreme to a customer that Jello approved of politically and who would pay $5,000 for it. And I was like, this is hell, isn't it? This is hell. And I woke up, and you wake up, you're panting, like, oh, thank God that was just a dream. Because, like, can you imagine you had to find a customer that met Jello Biafra's political, approval rating, and then you had to sell that person in late 90s Olds Cutlass for $5,000. It was basically hell.
I mean, unless it was the very rare Cutlass Supreme convertible with the double overhead cam 3.4 liter. I mean, that was quite the car back.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be able to get $5,000 for one. You'd have to get a Pontiac G3 with 50,000 miles to get that kind of money.
There's probably one dude somewhere who would say, I'll pay that $5,000. It's just gonna take you a year to find that person.
Well, I think it would end up being like a Wesley Willis. Like that's probably where you would find somebody who would be both approved and have the just insane lotion to actually want that car.
Batman's ass.
That's right. Wesley
I
Willis.
whooped Batman's ass.
So here we go.
Clang. Oh, soggy got
Doggy.
I have not thought about Wesley Willis in a long time. Thank you.
Someone's asking if we've had any Mercury Capris in U.S. Lemons, and because the Ford Capri of the 70s was technically sold by Mercury dealerships, but not a Mercury badged car, I must assume you're talking about the Ford Laser, aka Mazda-based Capri of the early 90s. And yes, we actually have had a couple of those, and they're not slow.
Yep.
If you're talking about the Ford Capri of the 70s, we've had several of those, and they're both slow and unreliable, but awesome.
Yeah. Also not good. None of them are good, but they're all solid choices. You should get
one. Good is
one.
a relative term. If you want a good car, I'd say you really need the Daewoo Leganza, because the only Daewoo Leganza we've had ran all weekend long, and it wasn't the slowest car we've ever seen in our lives. So
Just on Friday, I saw a Suzuki Verana wagon.
Verona. Sorry, the Verona was a Buick.
Whatever the Suzuki mid-sized compactish wagon thing, though, I was surprised to see the
Nubira, yeah.
But in the U-Pullet, there was one looking pretty good actually for what it was.
Well, I mean, due to my malign influence, teams have actually run all three of the Daewoos sold in the U.S. during Daewoo's brief run of, I think it was 99 to 2002. The Lanos, the Nubira, and the Leganza.
They sold a lot of Leganza.
This was a Suzuki badged one. So
the Verona was the Nubira, the Daewoo Nubira with Suzuki badges, because GM, after the Daewoo CEO ended up in jail, GM just finally said, well, we better buy the whole company instead of just being a majority investor in it because it's so good. And so they took over Daewoo, and they said, all right, well, we got Suzuki, and we got Opel, and we got, let's make a Suzuki Nubira and put it'll be fine. And so that's what the Verona was. But, I mean, all of those Daewoos, they were not that bad. It was one of those things where for the Leganza sold for the same price as an optioned up Corolla. I mean, what are you gonna get a Corolla with air conditioning and power windows? or do you get a Laganza? You know, with everything.
They sold the
choice is
hell
pretty
out
easy.
of the Laganzas.
Well, I mean, the hell out of them.
I
They
mean,
probably
for
sold.
Daewoo, let's be honest, you know.
So in the hell out of it means they sold 8.
No, they sold quite a few. I mean, you still see them. They're kind of invisible. And then I don't know why, but I still can't. I can't talk anybody into getting the Hyundai XG, the XG300 or the XG350. Those are actually not even bad cars, and they were direct competitors with the Laganza. You know, they're early 2000s. They're pretty decent cars. They got Mitsubishi V6s, so it's the 6G72 or the one that's a little bigger, which has proven itself to be
Okay.
not really okay, but not as bad as some engines.
Serviceable. How about that? Serviceable.
You can find them in the junkyard. Let's just say that. You know, if you need another one, it's easy to do. You know, like
Not
you blow
the
up the
worst
engine
motor
in
you're
your,
going to have.
you blow up the engine in your Milano. What are you going to do? You know, you better bring a spare one. Blow up the engine in your XG350. Head to the junkyard, find a Diamante, and you're set.
Yeah. So my best man at my wedding in 2001 had a rental XG300, and the night before my wedding, everybody got drunk but me, and I got to flog the frick out of that thing with all of my drunk idiot friends in it.
I thought the groom was supposed to get the most drunk. Isn't that a thing?
To me, Jeff, like you.
Sorry, I wasn't listening. I heard drunk idiot friends from Jeff, so I assumed I was involved.
No. I didn't know you back then.
Oh man, this is
Say you need to relive that and perhaps renew your vows at a race with an XG300 just for old time's sake.
In fact, you could probably buy an XG300 now for less than the cost of that rental back then.
Also,
Well, as I go off to car gurus to see what.
So here's a really weird thing that I've learned just lately is so the Denver police have the abandoned and confiscated vehicle auctions where it's like DUIs and abandoned cars and all that.
I'm excited.
And they're cheap, right? You go in there. I'm not kidding. There are prostitutes working in the crowd here. Like really, like it'll be January and like 12 degrees out. There'll be like girls in hot pants, you know, because they know everyone's got cash. It's an incredibly great scene. And the cars go for, you know, like the real hoopties go for like 150, 200, 300 bucks. It's pretty good deals. So since the COVID came in, they've switched to being online with it. And everything goes for like twice as much. I guess it's because people are sitting at home. They feel more confident about bidding or something. It was much better when it was the super sketchy, you know, North Denver, nasty parking lot where you had like 10 minutes to look at all the cars and you had to bid on them. So I have to say, like, going online makes all the auctions worse. It's better to have the ones where it's only in person, where they have the old time auctioneer and all that. Because I was seeing stuff like old Achivas going for $400. I mean, that has to be the nicest Achieva in the country for that kind of price at a kind of cop auction with no key in the car, you know?
Well, the problem with an online auction is you can't smell the car, and that tells you a lot about where it came from.
Well, yes, and I used to go to the San Francisco tow-away auctions back in the old days, late 90s, early 2000s. That was the Wild West. I got a lot of $50 cars there. They had it on a pier. Like, have you ever seen Magnum Force, the second Dirty Harry movie, where there's like the final chase scene where they're on a pier? That's the pier. That's the pier in San Francisco where this auction was held at. Like this decaying radioactive pier where they sandblasted nuclear test ships. So they had this auction. And they tow a lot of cars in San Francisco because they're very anti-car there. And it's also just the parking tickets are like $800, and they just keep building up. And so you'd go there, and every week it would be, or 2 weeks, maybe like 800 cars. So you'd have, and there'd be people there, like there'd be maybe 20 people there bidding who kind of knew what they were doing, and the rest were like, I just want something shiny and that looks nice. And then there's this large swath of cars that nobody really cared about. So you could get Civics and Tercels and stuff for, you know, $100, $50. So I had a job right nearby there in San Francisco. So I'd take my bike over there on BART, ride my bike to the auction, buy a car, throw the bike in the back of it, and drive it home. I never failed to get home. I had some with some problems, but anyway, that place, you know, you would see like I always thought like the thing to do would be make a sign that says for sale, blown head gasket, whatever, and throw it in there. Someone would see it, and they wouldn't want to bid on it. But then you'd actually find I found a lot of cars with like syringes and burned spoons. And I was like, I think I'm going to pass on this one. And that's that sort of
Those are
thing.
good ones because you know why they got rid of them.
Well, they got rid of them
That's
because junkies were living in them under a freeway overpass for 2 weeks. I mean, I think I'm going to pass on that.
But Jeff, junkies are known for their quality maintenance regimens that they keep very detailed spreadsheets and follow factory recommendations. Like, totally.
Actually, one car I bought that was really great. It came with
the back seat.
I bought a Sentra there that had a great story. So, like, when you bought the car there, you'd get this printout. They would have the car's kind of the reason it got towed away and brought to this place. So you get all the upsetting parking violations or whatever. This one was like 15 pages long. This 90s Sentra, early 90s Sentra I bought, and it was owned by a trust fund. This woman's trust fund. So it had her name and trust fund name on it, right? That was clearly was a trust fund that was required to keep her with wheels, and so she would just not bother to pay parking tickets because the car get towed, and then she get another one. So like all the parking tickets for the same block on Van Ness in San Francisco, which is a very hard place to park, and so it'd be like, this car that I got for I don't know $80. That had, I believe it was $60,000 of parking tickets on it. Well, because they build up. And there was like 3 or 4 a day. She'd like park in a red zone, park in a fire zone, it didn't matter. And then clearly, I mean, you could just tell from seeing this that yes, the car would then get towed away. She's like, oh, damn, well, I'll call the trust up there. But the terms of the trust are required to give me a car. And, clearly the fact that it was at that point, like 7-year-old Sentra meant they weren't required to give her a good car, but some kind of car. And so it was pretty impressive. And that very same, like 2 weeks later, I got a Tercel that had so much water ski equipment in the back. I was able to sell it for like $1,000 on eBay, like $1,000 of water ski, like really nice vests and skis and all that stuff. So you never know what you'd get back then. But then they went online with it, and I'll tell you now, it's all legit. There's hardly any gangsters there. It's like I wouldn't even bother with the San Francisco auction anymore either.
So we have a request to talk if we know anything about the Simca Talbot.
Well, I mean, Talbot was actually a mark. I mean, there was the Talbot Horizon, which became the Plymouth Horizon. I don't know if I don't think Simca ever had a car called the Talbot, but Simca and Talbot and all those other Roots Group Chrysler Europe brands were all kind of under the same roof. It could have happened, but that'd be like having a Chevy Pontiac.
What is this picture we got up, Ryan?
It's one of our viewers found it on Google Maps in a Walmart parking lot. Which checks out.
That Civic looks ready to race, Chris. What do you think?
It's too high up.
Legit, yo.
Yeah.
I mean, no one races without teal wheels. Duh.
True.
Up, clang, done.
Oh, that is our leader.
Matt Murphy, nice job there. And yet the headlights are still functional.
Still functioning. We should mention that there's again still only 2 cars trying to lead this race. This is Matt Murphy and who is it? Nelson? Nelson.
Alex
do we know?
Nelson.
You're right. The gap between P2 and P3 is rather wide.
Exactly. Then behind that we have the Dave Carpenter mobile, Cheaty Bort Hole. I don't know what the hell we're calling it.
So let's watch the
4 minutes
nice
back.
slow motion here. Here we go. Braking, not braking yet. Turning in. Oh, that's not gone well. Yet the rotors are gloating, but there's no brake lights on. And in the grass. Oh, and the Mustang sees a pedestrian.
There's a little teeny bit of oversteer.
Seeing the victim pedestrian, the Mustang turns and attacks. Oh,
Actually, at Le Mans,
today will not be the day for the Mustang.
You could
It will need back.
You could hit pedestrians spectators in tents, which would be great.
Because then they're sleeping and they don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. I remain disappointed by the lack of spectator carnage in iRacing. I mean, why not have it,
Shout out to the Track Map app for doing math and saying we have 10 laps to go.
Yeah, look at that.
That's great. So
Yay for
back
technology.
to the Hyundai XG350 and XG300 debate. I can find 0 XG300s for sale in America. So I have no idea.
They're out there.
How
Look,
to
you want me to
even
find one? I'll find one. You want a tow? I'll get you a tow.
Your search on broad enough? Oh, now, Jeff, someone else is coming in here talking about the Eagle Talon TSI. That's a rabbit hole you can dive down.
We've had a fair number of those in Lemons. In fact, this is a funny story. So there's these guys that come to the Indy race in Arizona. They have a Talon TSI convertible turbo with an automatic. Actually, it might be an Eclipse. I don't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They figured, oh man, we'll get an automatic, and they won't care how cheaty it is, and we'll win Class B by 1,000 laps. And so, turns out it didn't work. It has never worked, and it turns out that we knew all along that it wasn't going to work. So we're very happy that sometimes we just get it right, and that was one of those cases. So, however, really good drivers in a Talon / Eclipse can get around the track pretty well, and if they don't beat the shit out of the car, it'll kind of hold together because Mitsubishis are not as bad as. Let me think for a minute.
Yeah, I dailied one for almost 10 years. First generation TSI all-wheel drive, and I am well known for my lack of maintenance.
Are you well known for it, or are you just like average American level of lack of maintenance?
Chris,
No, this is the first I've heard.
I'd say Jeff is slightly above average. No,
By American
I mean that means
standards, maybe.
worse. No, worse than average. Like, I have to prompt him to do most things.
Okay, I just did a search, a nationwide Craigslist search for Hyundai XG350s, and I'm finding tons of them
No,
here.
350s I can find. 300s I can't find.
Well, I think we were just as happy with either kind. The 350 is the same thing with a bigger engine and maybe, I don't know, maybe a hood ornament shaped like Syngman Rhee, the blood-soaked dictator of South Korea. I always like to add blood-soaked to those dictator names. Like Enver Hoxha, the blood-soaked Enver Hoxha.
Yeah.
It's just a shame that those Lemonade guys blasphemed the memory of Enver Hoxha that way, unprovoked. I mean, we really should have banned them from Lemons for that.
I'm still looking forward to the first dodge of Clang with the Jetta there. Nice job,
Yeah.
Eric. That's good.
That's all right. Keep your foot down, Eric.
By the way, can we talk about the SUV nobody even knows about the Chevy Trax? Has anyone ever bought one of those?
Well, I've never bought one, but I know what it
rental
is.
car companies.
I mean,
or
did you see
people
them?
that got it.
I don't even see them in rental car lots.
I have seen a few in real life.
Oh, you have?
And
Okay.
Those people didn't try anything else.
Those people.
Yeah, they didn't try anything else.
Well, you just go to the dealership and you say, all right, give me a car. Like, I'm in a hurry. Yes.
I had the Ford version of that. I don't even know what the hell it's called.
The
Chevy
Echo
Trax?
Sport or
Yeah, the
whatever. it's
Echo
called.
Sport. I've had 2 of those for rentals, and they're
Oh, yeah, you had one at the 2017 Escape from Moscow or Retreat from Moscow. That thing was god-awful. I never even got in it, I can tell.
Yeah, we had one of our longtime arriving drives, Steve the dishwasher manufacturer, get one, and he got a rental car. He was coming up. He said, "Oh, I'll get an SUV so I can go on gas runs and stuff like that." And they gave him a damn EcoSport. We couldn't even fit a gas can standing up in the thing. It was such a piece of crap. It was terrible.
useless. And the CVT on it is the worst one I've ever driven.
Oh, no, you've never driven.
Sentra.
No, I'm going to say you've never driven the original Justy CVT when they were first inventing it.
It's valid.
Well, not first inventing it, but the Justy, the original Justy CVT from the late 80s, early 90s. It seems like it's broken, but it's working perfectly. Maybe a lot like drum brakes on most Detroit cars of the early 70s. Like this can't be intentional how bad these brakes are. No, that's just how people drove back then. Actually, I mean, that continued. When was the last? Okay, question we asked before. Nobody gave us a good answer. What was the last Detroit car, not truck, car you could buy with four-wheel drum brakes? What was it? I mean, it would have been pretty late. So I'm going to say it might have been early 80s even.
I'll say like a Fairmont. You probably could have gotten a Fairmont.
I'm going to say it was a Chrysler product just because they were really good at squeezing that last nickel out of a car.
What about a Granada, Phil? Like, Granadas and like
Granada.
I was thinking actually.
I think they were all disc brakes though. I mean, the Fox ones definitely were.
Fox body, yeah.
Well, they became Fox bodies in the early 80s, so I think it's probably not the Granada, but it could well be a Ford, but it would be like a real low trim level. What was the... God, what do they call the mid-size that was not the Granada? And I guess that was only the Granada. No, I guess it's not a Ford.
They called it crap. That's
Well,
what
yeah. I think it would have been a Chrysler. I think it would have been a Chrysler like a Volare. Did they make a Volare with drum brakes?
Well, 2 weeks ago, I just, a future Lemons racer stopped by our house. We've been talking to this guy for a while. He had a Chrysler Cordoba that he is working on bringing to a race coming up. And this is like a 78 Cordoba, and it is wonderful. And even that had disc brakes in the front.
Well, no, but by the early 70s, most Detroit cars had front wheel discs, and they actually, you can still get cars with rear drums now just because it's cheaper to do a parking brake that way. But I mean, the 4-wheel drums in the front. I mean, your standard mid-size and even full-size American cars mostly had those well into the late 60s. Ford was early in putting disc brakes on cars as well. Like, you could get them on the Montego and the Fairlane and all that pretty early on as maybe not standard but cheap equipment. So I think maybe because Ford had more of a connection with Europe, I think it's going to have to be GM or Chrysler. Maybe AMC though. I mean, they're kind of the wild card there.
What's that AMC?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I could start looking through brochures online. We could try to find out, but they generally hide that fact. I've also tried looking at Rock Auto, when I look at a car and see if there are drums available for the front, but you can't always count on that being accurate. Someone's going to know. Someone out there is going to know chapter and verse of what this is.
Car-part.com. It's a junkyard search engine for parts. That's a great way to go to see what's still out there. Like search 78 8MC Matador front drum or wheel cylinder or something like that. That might.
Well, you can. But I've done that also on Rock Auto, and you have the same kind of thing. Actually, Rock Auto stocks a lot of parts for the first year Model T, the 1909 Model T. You can still get a bunch of parts for that. So anyway, yes, if somebody could tell us what the last Detroit car, not truck, because trucks had 4-wheel drums real late, that had 4-wheel drums, I want to know.
Now, on a similar note, what is the last thing to have a 3 on the tree? Is it like?
Well, that's actually been debated in great length. The last vehicle you could buy new in the U.S.
All right, Matt Murphy. Another.
Oh wow!
Oh, that's a poorly done, Matt. Poorly done.
Seconds.
By the car behind him. That was pretty.
Did he have the line? Oh, he's just hopping up and down as he does a Mustang-y burnout. Oh, I see.
By the way, this is the leader, Matt Murphy.
Right.
So he's chilling in the pits, and the other guy just doesn't.
He might crash too, though.
That was another Mustang behind him that did that.
All right, final 3 on the tree. Vehicle available new in America, unless you count maybe weird edge case fleet buys that nobody knows about, or like Iraqi taxis or something like that, is 87 GM trucks, full-size trucks.
So last
really
square body. Okay.
Now the car, on the other hand, that's a good question. I have seen early 80s Oldsmobiles with 3 on the tree. I don't know if that was a swap. The guy that had him was kind of a nutcase, so you might have swapped him in because that was the kind of guy he was. But if someone knows the last American car with 3 on the tree, I'm guessing it'd be late 80s. I mean, I'm sorry, late 70s, early 80s.
Now 4 in the tree is a whole different story. I remember when I was a kid, I spent a year in Germany when I was 10. So it was 1989-ish. And I remember a friend of mine's dad picked me up in a Mitsubishi van, like with the cab over vans, the ones that they wouldn't sell here because they were so unsafe, right? And this thing had a 4 in the tree, and this baffled my, young child car kid mind of how is he shifting the car with the column? Like, no, the column is for putting it in park and to drive. If you have a manual, it's on the floor. I don't get it because my parents had Chevy vans or Mercedes or Volkswagens. Like that's all I ever had experience to. So this blew my mind.
A lot of Japanese cars had 4 on the tree pretty late. Like the Toyota Crown had it into the 90s. I mean, and 5 on the tree actually. That actually remained a thing in Japan pretty late. It was a way you could have a bench seat without having a manual transmission that had a funky gear shift that went up and back, from the floor, and your middle passenger could put his feet there. I'd like to see a 6 on the tree, to be honest. But yeah, I remember the first 3 on the tree.
Rear end there.
The 6 on the tree. There's a challenge for every lemon.
Yeah, well, I'd love to see it.
6 on the tree for Phil.
Well, we've been trying to get people to do it for iRacing too. I mean, because it totally could be done. But I mean, 3 on the tree was still a pretty common setup when I first started driving, which is the early '80s. There were still a lot of cars with that, and I ended up having a pretty brief, ownership of an early '60s Chevy pickup, like a C10 or whatever they called it back then. Maybe it was an Apache. It had 3 on the tree, and it kind of scrambled me for a bit because that was the first one I'd ever driven. But then I kind of got to like it, so.
The only manual in the tree I've ever driven is the Wartburg when we picked it up in Nelson Ledges. And we
how many forward gears does the Wartburg did it have when it had that?
It had 4, and we got into 3 of them as we were, once we got it running at Nelson's Ledges, excuse me.
Yeah.
We drove it around and had the penalties and stuff like that. But we were running off of a fuel tank that was a 20-ounce Coke bottle with a nipple screwed into the top that was so with a hole poked in the top of the bottom of the bottle, which was raised up. That was our fuel tank, so we could only go 1 lap around the paddock, but man, we were doing all we could with that 4 on the tree.
I remember that well. I remember the very safe fuel tank, but the advantage of it was that you could see how much gas you had left at any given time. And I see Rob Sykes is saying 86 F-150 is the last with the column man. I wrote that too back in the day because I went through all the brochures and everything else, all the standard catalogs and everything else. And then somebody gave me definitive proof that it was the 87 GMs. I forget what the proof was, but I was convinced. So
Clang, Eric Hesser takes out a Miata right there.
Double F right there.
Well done.
He was all over the place. So, Phil, when was the last original Mini imported into America? Because that looks like that might have been the last mainstream car. Obviously not American, but available.
Mini? M-I-N-I or MIDI, like the keyboard?
Mini.
I mean, okay, yeah. Jeez. That must have been... Because they started putting the 8016s here instead because they were so much bigger and more luxurious.
Like the Miata actually got sideways.
All right, well,
neither of them were going straight when they made contact.
If this had happened at the real race, once they got out of the hospital, we'd make them do the identify the shitty 2010s GM SUV. I'm gonna seriously, and I might expand that to be all sort of generic unibody SUV-ish vehicles. I'm just gonna say maybe I should just say unibody vehicles that are shaped to look kind of truck-like.
Well, you got to include like the Hyundai Tucson and Kia Sportage and all that crap.
Could you with no logos, with no badges on one, could you tell a Borrego from an Outlander?
No, I couldn't tell you with logos.
Okay, so I'm saying that's harder than people try to identify AMCs of 35 years ago. I think it's a good penalty because these cars are all around us. I mean, you see them every day, and you don't really register them, and that's what everybody seems to drive now.
So according to this thread I'm reading on what is this? Sorry about this. I can't even tell where it was, but the Mini was in 1986 was still producing original Minis with 4-wheel drums.
Yeah, but not sold in the U.S. I mean, the last year for the Mini in the U.S., the original Mini in the U.S. would have been early 70s at the latest. Because there's no way they could meet U.S. emission requirements. I mean, the 8016, the Austin America, that I think sold through like 72. Spank should be on here talking about this because he would know.
Well, oddly enough, Spank is going to be the guest on our podcast this week. We could
My goodness.
That list.
Well, there you go.
67 was the last Minis.
Was it? Okay. All right. So the 8016 was basically a stretch Mini. Now the BMC fanatics and the British Lego fanatics are going to be all over my ass about this. But you know what? You can issue your file on somebody else because the 8016 was essentially a Mini. That was available into the early 70s, and boy, that was a fine car.
The 8016 was not a great car to drive. Like Spank and I once at the Ridge got an Austin America to 12th overall. Despite everything that it threw at us, just the two of us manhandling the overall for a Class C win, and we couldn't believe it either. It seemed impossible.
So all this talk about old minis, was there a mini with a manual column shift? Is that what we're getting at here?
No.
Four-wheel drive.
Four-wheel drive. Oh, four-wheel drum. Okay, right. I get
Yeah,
it.
4-wheel drums through 86.
Oh no, there was some really terrible Japanese import with four-wheel drums that late too. Had to be. I mean, it had to be. I'm gonna say like the real low spec early Sentra. I bet. I don't know though,
Hi,
but this
Chrissy.
was a selling point then.
Hi,
Okay,
Chrissy.
somebody says that minis with four-wheel drums were sold in Burma. Actually, isn't that in the urban legend about there's a whole bunch of not Triumph Spitfires, the Supermarine Spitfires still in crates buried in Burma somewhere? I think you're conflating those two. Like, suppose there's a bunch of Spitfire airplanes still buried somewhere in Burma in perfect shape. You just dig them up, assemble them, and just start shooting down 747s at your local airport with Spitfire. I mean, no one could blame you.
I hear you could still buy Army Jeeps packed in Cosmoline. So
You know, I actually know a guy who bought one of those surplus Jeeps in like the early '80s. I was like 15, and he got one of those. And it really was like $20, but it was a Vietnam veteran Jeep that had been hit direct with a mortar shell, and then crated up in just bits. And then it had sat in a rat-filled warehouse for many years. So yes, it had received a direct hit from a pretty good diameter Soviet mortar somewhere in Vietnam, and just stuffed in a big crate, and he bought it. So turns out the fine print says, may have battle damage. I mean, I guess now it'd be kind of cool to drive, but it was not even recognizable as a motor vehicle. It was full of rat poop. So I'd have to say, like, the Cosmoline packed ones, I think those were probably gone by about 1947.
By the way, going back to Daewoo,
Daewoo, that's who.
we'll have to get Nick wound up about that.
Do you
because
mean Woo Day?
when he was in college, one of his college friends somehow became like a Daewoo influencer.
Oh no, they did. So that was their big marketing shtick was they got college students, like 2 from every college in the country that had over like 50 students. They gave them a Daewoo, like they loaned them a Daewoo, no strings attached, and they were supposed to like set up card tables on campus and try to pitch other students on Daewoos. And in fact, all of them just got drunk and crashed them. But so this is a big national program, and the guy that thought this program up was the same guy who went to jail later, who fled South Korea in order to avoid prosecution. It was such a good story. But apparently, Daewoo or GM later was on the hook for all expenses incurred by these cars for decades. They're still finding them on fire and full of bullet holes somewhere. You know, still registered to Daewoo from 2002. You know, and actually, I believe that Lanos was the one that had the buy one get one free sale toward the end, and they still couldn't sell them. But yeah, that was this. They didn't call it influencers back then, but they had a deal where college students, like 2 per college, got one. When Nick's friend had one, and but they didn't keep any records of who had them, so you didn't have to give it back. Most people said, "Man, this car sucks," and just abandoned it somewhere. But like I said, GM was.
Car's got to suck pretty bad for a college student.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it was a car.
This piece of crap.
No, it was a car you couldn't register after like a year. You know, it wasn't yours. It didn't. It had manufacturer
They didn't
plates
give
on
you
it.
like the title or anything. They just kind of gave it to you.
It was not well thought out, and the guy who thought it up then promptly fled to Vietnam and then went to jail. So, and then one of my favorite things about the Daewoo story is after Daewoo fled the U.S., in very miserable circumstances, they turned over warranty service, and I'm not kidding here, to the Pep Boys. That was, you had to take your Leganza to Manny, Mo, and Jack to have them use. I'm sure they were very conscientious about it, knowing that Daewoo was going to send thugs to break their kneecaps if they did a poor job. So
They were very careful about wearing white gloves and putting carpet covers in the interiors, just like what they do when you go to bring your Bentley in for service.
So anyway, a whole bunch of those college student, influencer Daewoos just knocked around for almost 20 years before finally ending up upside down, full of bullet holes, on fire, in a basketball court somewhere. And I'm thinking like an indoor basketball arena is what I mean. So it's actually burning the wood. And then GM is required to pay for all the damage costs because they're still the legal owners because, they took over Daewoo. So Yeah, the Daewoo rabbit hole. If you start searching for Daewoo stories online, you'll never come out. They're fascinating.
So, according to Eric Kritzler, who's one of the Three Pedal Mafia teammates in the YouTube chat, says last car available in America with four-wheel drums was the '79 Volkswagen Bug.
Really? Oh, but that's true. They never put factory discs on the U.S. market, or maybe anybody's air-cooled Beetles. But I think it wasn't '78 the last year was the convertible. Could have been '79.
I don't know. I just sent him out to YouTube to try and find the last American.
That's plausible. I can believe that.
Yeah, he's an air-cooled VW enthusiast, bless his heart. So I would believe what he says.
No, I believe that '79 was last year, and I believe that they had drum brakes because they all had drum brakes because it would have cost several pfennigs more to put disc brakes on them at that point. And it worked fine.
Eric owns a late VW Beetle. It's a 1995 Porsche 993 C4, so he knows.
Well, I'd really like to get one of those the last Mexican Beetles too. Anyway, but I bet there's a Detroit car. I bet there's some super low spec, no carpeting, no headliner, no radio, no nothing, terrible AMC or Chrysler that was still equipped with front drums as late as like '83. It's gotta be.
Like you have to check a certain option group just to get the drums.
Yeah, you get money. You get money back.
So I'll give you a quick update about the race here. So Alex Nelson, who we saw take over the lead when Matt Murphy crashed. I don't remember what he did.
Yeah, only a 16-second gap. Good for them.
Yeah.
That's great.
The gap was up to about a minute and 10. So Matt Murphy is running down the leader, Alex Nelson. And then in third place keeps going back and forth in about 4.5 minutes between Jay Becker and Uncle Dave Carlson.
Dave Carlson? Or Dave Carpenter?
Sorry, Dave Carpenter.
Okay, just checking. Make sure which Uncle Dave you're talking about.
Sorry, wrong Dave. Dave's not here, man.
Oh, we've got somebody talking about the Asuna, which I don't even know if that's how you pronounce it. There's an umlaut over the U, which was the Canadian. It was a Canadian version of Geo. I still don't understand the umlauted U because that's not a word there. That's not a letter they use in French, which is the other European language they speak in Canada. They did they did all of the Geo brands. All the Geo cars were done as Asuna. So there was an Asuna Sunfire, which actually I think that was the Chevy Nova / Geo Prism. We would love to have one of those in Lemons. They're all over there, just over the border in Canada. We got a lot of Canadian teams. I mean, it's time. There's a Geo Storm version. I cannot remember the name. I think that was just the Asuna GT. Is it Asanya? Who the hell knows? Nobody in Canada bought them. And then just to mess with people some more, GM decided, let's make yet another mark for Canada. So they had the Passport, which was not like to be confused with the Honda Passport. It was the Passport, which was I forget what the car was actually called. It was the Daewoo Le Mans, aka sorry, that's my phone. Hold on a second, let me move that out of there. It's the Lord Humongous. So yeah, the Daewoo Le Mans, aka the Pontiac Le Mans in the late 80s, early 90s, actually was available as a Passport something in Canada. We need one of those.
We have not had nearly enough of the Pontiac Le Mans / Opel Kadett / Daewoo whatever bullshit they came up with.
Tommy Salami and the Meat Wagon. I mean, those guys pretty much they pretty much did the Pontiac Le Mans / Daewoo Le Mans / every other kind of thing that car was badged as. They actually ordered parts from South Africa for it. They did everything they possibly could. They got a boombox, a Daewoo badged boombox to play during the inspections. I have a hard time believing anybody could top that. But an actual Asuna, man, I feel like I must be pronouncing it wrong. One of those weird Canadian cars. I don't care which one it is. Bring one of those.
Huh. So when I was a kid living in Europe, I actually, I see the Opel Kadett GT. I was 10. I was like, hell yeah, that's a cool car.
Pretty cool,
now,
yeah.
Current me says, just shut up. What? No.
No, you still kind of want one. I mean, why wouldn't you want one?
No, because also I saw like E30 M3s when they were new. I'm like, oh, that's cool. It's a BMW. No.
Yeah, that's a dentist car. You don't want that. Are you a dentist? I don't think so.
Well, but there was a
He
Daihatsu
works
dealer
in
right down the street from
insurance.
my.
I mean,
That's
what
true.
is really
Yeah, but
the difference? Insurance
Did I-
man, dentist.
The Daihatsu dealer, that was cool. Down the street, they had a Charade, like whatever the sport model Charade was, and that was pretty sweet with its 3-banger. Hell yeah.
No, actually, I think that one had the big block 4-cylinder, I believe. I think it was sort of like the same thing happened with the
Well, I remember the
Metro.
guy trying to sell it to my mom at the time, and if she's not a car person, and trying to tell us, oh, this is his wife's car. Oh, it has 3-cylinder, but it'll reach top speed in 3rd or 4th gear. And, in Germany, that's a thing. And this is coming from the car we were driving at the time, which is a 1980, I don't know what, Fiat Fiorino, which is an obscure kind of car that never existed in the U.S. It's kind of like a Ford Transit Connect today. It's an economy car in the front, but with this box in the back, except Fiat did it in a very poor way, and it really was just like an economy car with a box that stuck out the side. It was like a box truck with a 1-liter 4-cylinder.
There's a reason that Fiat took over Chrysler.
Yeah, right.
Oh man, so someone's asking what the last American car with a single master cylinder from the factory was. Unfortunately, the communists that completely took over the federal government by that time mandated dual circuit master cylinders after 1966. So because Marx, Lenin, Engels, and Mao together banded and said, we must insist that all Americans have this superfluous so-called safety gear, thereby undermining everything that made America great, we had to have dual circuit master cylinders after 1966 on every new car sold in America, and I'm sorry.
The only word I disagree with in there is superfluous.
You know what? Are you one of those safety nuts? Come on now. Like padded dashboards. Why was that? Why did that become a thing? A real man that wears a lap belt, if anything, and he eats the steering wheel and the dash like a man.
It ruined the MGB.
Actually, I have to say that my 1966 Dodge A100, I put in a dual circuit master cylinder because I just don't like the idea of death at 22 miles an hour.
Phil, I don't feel like we've seen enough updates on your Dodge van lately.
Well, no, I sold it to my boss at Auto Week like a year and a half ago. It's his, and then he sold it to some guy in Canada, and then that guy sold it back to him because he missed it. So
hence why we haven't seen any updates. Got it.
that is correct. Well, I keep meaning to do a big story about it, but then Andy Story, he needs to write his side of it before I mess up his. I don't want to steal his thunder by talking about it because it's pretty interesting adventure. He actually used a press car and a press trailer. He actually found a car trailer as a press loaner that he could review, and flew out to Denver, got the press. I forget what he used, some kind of like an F-Series Ford, and the press trailer, and towed my A100 back to Detroit where he lives. And then worked on it some more, and I made money on it. And then he found some Canadian guy had to have it. He saw it at the Woodward Dream Cruise, and he made money on it. And then sold it back to Andy, and then this guy made money on it. So everyone who sold it's made money. But yeah, he's putting disc brakes on it, and it was weirdly unrusty, which is the good thing about it. So
hey, which of the 3 cars we're watching right now? Because I'm surprised that the 3rd place car, which I think is a Jetta, is not far behind those 2 Mustangs that we were seeing there. Until the one went in the dirt.
Got all Class A cars in the top 6 positions. The first Jetta is actually, because the leader for Class B is the Sorry car, or Carl Vierthaler. Damn it, Doug Racing. Yeah, the Howard Dean machine for Lee Berry.
Carlo Vierthaler. He's a good Italian or Irish guy.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Why not? So yeah, we have a 27-second lead right now for Alec Nelson. Matt Murphy has recovered after getting shunted on his way into the pits. He now is behind by 26 seconds. Looks like he got a quick repair there. Yeah, he had the toe in the camber knocked out there, so it was nice for him to pick up that quick repairs. You see that soul glow as he works his way through one of the many corners we have out here in France.
Gets
in
your
the dark.
soul glow.
That's right. Class C, we've still have Black Maven Motorsports leading the way. That's Raymond Muratori. He has let's see if we can figure it out. Second place in Class C is the 09 Solstice Gatorade's Better Machine for Peter McDade. He is working his way through the second chicane.
Hey, and
And
Ray
the
is still
leader-
not blinded in the dark.
And
which
leader
is
is
a
almost at the
solid win for
start-finish
Ray.
line. So, yeah, it's still about half a lap lead for Class C.
Yep.
And that is your in-race update brought to you out there who care. Thank you.
By somebody. Somebody
Brought to you
important.
by-
Yokohama.
Someone asked for it. I'm sure.
Yokohama, the best tires that we don't actually use.
Oh
on
yeah,
our
yeah.
race
There
cars.
you go.
Thank you
there
very
you
much.
go. Yeah, this
Yep.
this half-ass actual race information brought to you by Yokohama. Thank you.
About 3 laps to go. Going way back in the comments, somebody asked if we've ever had a Merkur in Lemons. We've had several of them. Most people get really tired of the stock engine really fast and put V8 in.
I'm disappointed the lack of Scorpios, though.
We never
We
had
have not had a Scorpio. We've tried.
Oh, damn.
I see them. I mean, I find them in junkyards every so often. Like people, I don't know, they hoard them for a while and they get rid of them. Fine automobile.
and then
And actually, by the way, I had a guy contact me today saying he really wants to run a 2002, 2005 Ford Thunderbird, but he's afraid he'll get penalty laws. Like, dude, I don't care how much you spend, do it. So I was like, oh, okay, that's no problem then. I found with the salvage title, but it's like $900. It's like, oh man, that's fine. Go ahead, you know.
Sold.
the Ford dealership near me has one like front and center, like shined up. It is like their showpiece. Like, oh, come buy this thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were the people who think they're incredible. Also think the early '70s Thunderbird is a good car. So there we go.
Somebody else asked if we've ever had an Isuzu 117, which is not a car that was ever sold.
No.
Actually, a cool looking car.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there wasn't. I mean, the first Isuzu badged cars in the U.S. didn't show up till early '80s, like the iMark, and so yeah. I mean, you could get the Isuzu. You could get basically the Chevy Load was an Isuzu, and that was available from the early '70s on.
Yeah,
and actually the later Chevettes, a lot of those were basically the Isuzu Cadet, blah blah blah.
iMark.
Yeah.
Buick Opal.
Right. I mean, they got real confusing with some of those, and then some of the Buick Opals were actually Isuzus. Again, you start getting into that Vauxhall, Holden, Opal, kind of stirring the pot weirdness, and you don't even know what you're getting. So it fell to Buick to sell those cars.
Someone's asking on YouTube, what about a Dodge Caliber? We would love a Dodge Caliber.
Well, we keep begging for a Caliber, and nobody brings one in. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, what do we have to do? Get on our knees? You bring a Caliber.
Any modern Chrysler, like a Caliber, an Avenger, a 200, a Journey. Oh God, a Journey would be so great.
Man, we'd love to see a Journey. A 200, though. I mean, like we were talking about the last race, the 200 broke the Hyundai Excel's record for speed from showroom to junkyard.
And they had most of them had the Pentastar in it, so it's a 290 horsepower V6 and a 6-speed. I mean, that is domination right there.
And you can find those things.
Oh, you sure can. No,
$8 in the Pentastar. I find $8 in the junkyard.
I find Chrysler 200s in nice condition and pick and pull with, I started seeing those when they were like 2 years old, 2.5 years old.
There's a couple good questions in the YouTube chat. Citroen DS,
yeah, we've had that
one. You have the Air Prance one. What's the rarest car you've seen in Lemons? Well, I'm going to say it's the Citroen SM that we've seen it once.
No, I'm going to say that it was actually the Frontenac that we had at CMP because they sold like 50 of those. So it was the Canadian version of the Ford Falcon. It was actually the Frontenac something else. Frontenac was the mark. But yeah, it was a Canadian market Ford, like 61 Ford Falcon. Dozens were sold.
Only a Ford Falcon.
And that's saying something. A car that's more rare than a Citroen SM.
Well, we've actually, I don't know how many. Well, I mean, rare in America. The Renault Fuego is pretty rare in America, but probably not as rare as the SM. But then you get like weird option packages and all that too. So I mean, like we had a Mitsubishi Lancer Rally Art. They must have sold dozens of those
to people whose credit scores were under 600 only.
The amazing thing about those is the Oz Rally Lancer. It was basically or OZ, I guess OZ Rally. You got OZ wheels on it, and then like a little badge on the trunk.
and that's all.
And I think you got like a fake carbon fiber shift knob, either automatic or manual. Those things were ungodly popular in Colorado, and I've seen so many in the junkyard that I've stopped bothering to shoot them and write about them because like I don't care anymore.
There's a lot of people asking about things like Avantes and Borg Wards. These are all dime a dozen in lemons. These
Been there, done that.
We have an Avanti. We don't, we're not worried about the budget for something like an Avanti. Go ahead, fine. We've had a Lark. We've had
or an Alante.
Oh yeah, we have those. We need more of those though. Those are, but look, you can't go wrong. I would say, 21st century terrible Detroit rental cars, Malibu, Impala, Avenger, all those things. Get one of those. We'll be happy with it. We'll probably put it in Class C. The junkyards are full of parts for them. You can keep them running. Sure, most of them are. No, they're all automatics. But
especially with the Malibu Max version. The Malibu Max just has.
Oh, I'd love to have a Malibu Max.
The greatest rear end. That's got to be up the arrow.
You could even extend that into the regularly rented imports, like the Ultima. Like I had a 2019 Ultima. That might have been, as a rental car, that might have been the worst car I've driven in the last 20 years.
Actually, I have to say, with our Lemons rental experience, the only car we came to hate more than the Journey was the Ultima. And strangely, I've driven like a higher spec level, like a non-fleet spec Ultima, and it was fine. Well, I wouldn't say fine. It was acceptable, but the rental grade Ultima. I mean, first of all, I believe the seats are covered with, those really horrible industrial towels. They're made for like restaurant use, kitchen towels. It's it's kind of covered with that for the seats, and then the steering will not stay on center. So you can't just you can't relax at all on the highway. You're constantly steering.
I was in Florida on a new highway that is flat and straight and level, and it required constant correction to stay straight.
Well, that's something having to do with the funky electric power steering they put on those, where it costs at least 100 more yen to get it to work right. So like the higher level ones, I have to say, like last summer I had a press car, I had the Q50S, the Infiniti Q50S, so it was a fine car. I really liked it. So Nissan is still capable of building, decent cars and shipping out its former heads in a cello case, but
sure. None of the good cars are badged as Nissans, though, is the problem. They're all badged as Infinitis or...
I know, I bet the Versa was a tolerable appliance,
Tolerable being the greatest Accord it's ever received.
Okay, we would love to see an Ultima and Lemons. I guess the upshot of all this discussion is, bring an Ultima and Lemons. That'd be great. We'd like that.
Or a Versa.
Or a Versa would be good too.
Oh, and Chris ain't married. Clang into the wall. Nice job there, Chris.
Let's see if those taillights are still operational.
Nope, they're still working. And the marker lights are too.
Greatest
everything's working.
Ever built. Whoa.
The Solstice is...
Solstice.
So another car
dodging and weaving.
Actually, another truck I just learned about. So you're all familiar with the Dodge Rampage and Plymouth Scamp, Chrysler's front-wheel drive Omni-based pickup. So there are right now 2 Plymouth Scamps in Denver junkyards. They only made 3,000 of them. 2 of them are now in Denver junkyards, and one of them is a Lemons racer. So there's 3 that I've accounted for. There was a Scamp GT. I mean, can you believe it? A Scamp GT. Who wouldn't want one of those?
I actually test drove a Scamp GT when I was like 17 years old in 3 days. Like the ink hadn't even dried on my driver's license. Because in New Jersey, that's when you get it to 17.
Wait, you're 17 to get one?
Yeah, it's Jersey, man.
Man, speaking of communism's takeover of America, I mean, look at that. Just even California, where I got my license, you got it when you're 16.
So the corner lot basically gave me and my other idiot friend the keys and said, come, it only had two seats in it, so he couldn't go with us.
Oh, man.
We drove into the local neighborhood and we looked at each other and we said, is this thing rear wheel drive or front wheel drive? We said, I don't know. Try and do some donuts and let's see what it does. So we tail whipped that sucker around a cul-de-sac right into a curb. Scared as balls, took it right back. Thank you, sir. It was a great car.
Was the alignment? Was the alignment a little messed up by that?
I don't know. I don't think I knew enough about cars to know.
And here's another. Okay, here's a car that sold in vast quantities. I mean, it was one of the best-selling cars in America when it was new. And we still haven't had in Lemons. Amazing Class C IOE kind of car. The Chevy Celebrity, the Chevrolet badged A-body. I mean, never had one.
You know,
What the hell is wrong with you people?
I had an early job just out of high school, in my summer job in college, where the car they gave me as a company car was a Chevy Celebrity Eurosport VR wagon.
Wow.
Right?
The VR, that's what I've been trying to find in the junkyard because those are rare, not valuable.
It had 280,000 miles on it at the time I had it in the late 90s.
Wow. Well, it's amazing it lasted that long.
Oddly enough, the guy who was in the passenger seat when we pistol whipped the scamp, his father worked for Xerox, and his company car every 2 years was a Celebrity Wagon Eurosport.
But the VR was super rare. Like Eric,
the VR was like the VR had all kinds of really cool interior and paint stuff.
If Eric's still here, he's nursing a semi, just hearing about a Eurosport VR in actual real life.
I mean, the regular Eurosport package.
I need to focus.
The regular Eurosport package was, or as I called it, the urine sport package, because my mom had a Celebrity Eurosport, and I had to work on it. She bought it. It was like a year old. It was her ex-rental car in like '88. I come home from college and visit, like, oh, the Celebrity's broken again. Can you fix it? It's like, but the thing's like 2 years old. What the hell? And it would be something like, the serpentine belt tensioner just falling apart, or the wiring harness like 7
Corey
or 8
Dickman.
just fused.
Clang. Corey Dickman. Well done. That's good.
So anyway, the Eurosport option was, I think what it meant was the velour on the seats was a little lower pile.
I think you got a 3-spoke steering wheel instead of a 4-spoke steering wheel.
Oh yeah, it was pretty sporty. And Iron Duke, because why not? If you don't care about life.
Well, hey, the VR that I had a 2.8 or maybe a 3.1.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about this too. I was actually
had that drone. When you step on the gas in the GM V6 drone,
well, we've had lengthy discussions about that GM V6 sound. It's the sound of power.
I'm being fact-checked in the YouTube chat. They're saying there's no way you can tail whip a scamp. That you are correct. We attempted to tail whip a scamp and oversteered straight into the curb, or understeered straight into the curb.
No, you can do that if you lift off the throttle at high speed into a corner. You can whip the tail out. You won't have any control whatsoever. But
we attempted that, and
do we have just 1 minute left in this race? Really? Has it gone by this quickly?
Yes.
Oh man,
Quickly, yes.
All right, let's get worked up about it then. Is there anybody using a weird controller? It looks like
Mister, we're not staying the whole time and still here.
Yeah.
Hey, Chrissy is in bed. I'm still here. She said she would go away.
Are you guys
She's the one that has
later
to get up.
than me?
Oh
Yeah, she has to actually physically drive to work tomorrow. Very rarely she have to do this these days but tomorrow is one of those days.
Actual
So
battle here for third position. Oh no, Uncle Dave's got a pit. Oh no,
Dave,
he does not
one
have
lap
enough
left.
fuel
What's
to
wrong with
make
you?
it. Yeah. No.
Oh, man, that's what you need to do. You need to
F's
stay
and
on top
Chad.
of that.
F's and Chad.
We're gonna
for Uncle
hassle.
Dave.
We're gonna hassle Dave for that tomorrow. Plenty. Don't worry.
Well,
They missed their fuel calc.
we'll see if the 4th place car, now 3rd place, runs out of gas, and then he won't look so silly. Anyway, best GM motor, Phil. Buick 30.
Well, he suggests it's the Buick 3800. I mean, we've had a lot of those, and they're not terrible. God, the Ecotechs have actually been fairly reliable. I mean, we've had enough of them now. It might be the Ecotech. The 3800, we've had so many of them that we've seen so many blow up that I really couldn't say what the percentage is. They're better. The 3800 is better than average reliable in Lemons.
Have we seen a Blue Flame straight 6 yet in Lemons?
Would that be the Chevy overhead valve one? I mean, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think we have. I'd love to.
That would seem like the Ford 300 would seem like a good, solid, reliable choice.
Well,
I
don't know. We try to get people to bring straight 6 Detroit engines all the time, and they seem reluctant to.
gee, I wonder why.
If someone just took an E36 and swapped a Blue Flame Chevy into it, it's Class C glory.
I see what you did there, X-Keeper. I like it.
Someone wants to know about the silverfish in the ice maker. I forgot that. I must have mentioned that the other day. Yeah, I don't know how they got in there, but they seemed. I think they were drawn to all the bodily fluids from the drive-in snack bar employees. Pooping in there. Is the only thing I had to say, and that was the same snack bar where the hot dogs turned endlessly on the rollers for months, and then we'd put them in the freezer overnight, and then put them back on the rollers, still frozen the next day. That's not what they do at the 7-Elevens in Japan. There are no rollers with ancient hot dogs on them.
Because they would feel shame at having the raw hot dog still there.
Correct, they would. There's a lot of shame in Japan. They feel it rather readily there.
Did Dave Morrow have a blue flame in his
No, he had the
Pontiac?
Pontiac.
No, it was the overhead cam 6. I insisted that he get one. It turns out they're not hard to find because Pontiac sold a lot of cars with those.
Oh.
It was actually the first use of a timing belt in a production vehicle too. Was those engines? So there's another one for John DeLorean. That was his idea.
John DeLorean was filled with
John
great
DeLorean. Yeah, that is actually a great idea.
Well, it's turned out, like the timing chain's all noisy and stuff, although they don't break as often, but that's. But yeah, it was a Chevy 250 that was extensively modified to have an overhead cam setup. All right, here we go. We're coming into the final lap here.
I think the greatest way to push the cam around is absolutely what was in my International Harvester 304. And that was just, they made the big toothed gear on both the cam.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the cam that has like 2 lobes on it.
They were just gear to gear.
Yeah.
So there was no chain, just gear to gear. Worked great.
I'm just transferring.
It was a great truck until your mom sent it to the junkyard when you were away.
Oh man, my parents did that with my Beetle too. I mean, granted, I sold the engine out of it first, and then it was this hulk of a '58 Beetle with most of the back body cut off, sitting in their backyard, and they finally pushed it out in the street and let it get towed away. I can't really be too mad at them.
I'm still scarred.
Well, your truck, you were still daily driving that, and you just happened to leave for like a week, and they did your mom scrapped
Oh no, I wasn't still dailying it. I still loved it, but I wasn't still doing it.
Yeah, when my parents got rid of my VW, I'd been off at college for like 3 years and had not touched it for the whole time, and I'd sold the engine. So they figured maybe we don't need this in the backyard anymore. They had a point.
Wow, here's some great nugget of information from Patrick McNulry. He says that the DeLorean mansion in Bedminster, New Jersey is now a Trump personal home.
Well, I don't know if it's a personal home. He owns
The
it.
checkered flag is being displayed for Alec Nelson.
There we go.
As you see, you do the ceremonial pull towards the inside wall. Nicely done, Alec. Congratulations to Tiagi Reserves. Both those drivers did a fantastic job tonight bringing it home P1. That's Alec Nelson and Doug Ellison. Congratulations, guys. Only 4 incidents as a team. Congratulations, guys.
Where's the demo derby going to be here? Is it going to? Are we going to do it under the Dunlap Bridge for ceremonial purposes?
Looks like he's had to whip some donuts here, maybe.
Why do they not have the speedometer register anything when you're looking from inside the cars? That seems like a
we're spectating, so some cars it works, some it doesn't. Yeah. Well, yeah. If you're driving, it works correctly. So.
But in the Mustang, you can't see it anyway. You just see the pie dash in front of you.
Right.
Patrick is confirming that the Trump golf course is the location of the DeLorean's mansion.
DeLorean was like a stylish dude too. I mean, he always wore the latest Italian suits and everything. I mean, he was definitely like in the thick of all the Studio 54 stuff and everything. Certainly, a little more of a kind of a dude than some people we might name.
Are we going to make the demo derby for ceremonial purposes down at Mulsanne Corner?
Do we have a choice? Isn't it up to the racers?
Would be a great. That's where I would suggest. But
I mean,
it's up to the racers. But I mean, if they just waited to be on Mulsanne Corner for the demo derby, especially when they can get a full head of steam going down the straight, that would seem like the best place.
We could message them in iRacing and tell them to meet there for a crash party.
Well, here they are. They're all going down the Mulsanne Straight now.
Oh,
So
someone just needs to wipe out right now.
It's up to the leaders to decide that the Mulsanne corner is the place for the straight.
There goes a full yeet right there.
That's a good solid one. Yep. Keep on going, gentlemen. Go. Oh no.
Now he's turning around. I think he's turning around going backwards down Mulsanne
he's
now.
putting his headlights back counter race. So that
He's gonna get DQ'd soon.
We have damage turned on, don't we?
There it went.
Oh,
DQ'd. You can't do that. Ask me how I know.
oh man. So we need to turn all that off.
I don't know if you can. There's a whole lot of smoke going on. I can't see anything, but looks like we're
Just plow straight into the wall. Why not?
Wherever they are, they've now decided this is the place.
Well, it looks good.
So I guess it's the first chicane. And that's where they are, the first chicane.
seems like it.
All right. Well, I mean, I suppose not quite as good as the Mulsanne corner for historical purposes, but if you're just gonna crash your crap into other people, why not?
I think the difficulty tonight is that the spacing between the leaders is so far apart that they couldn't organize as quickly.
Yeah, we'll have to work on that for.
It is a 8-mile track too, so.
So maybe we need to specify in the pre-race
I'm putting it on
instructions.
focus on crashes. I'm sure it won't disappoint here shortly.
Shit's getting way too complicated for me.
There you go.
No,
I've been waiting all night. I haven't heard a
Yeah,
sound
I
clip
know,
all
I'm
night.
sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I'm assuming. Do we have? I don't want to say sober Judge Phil because then it would make it sound like you have a problem or something. But are you partaking of scotch this evening?
I've had a couple of beers, but I mean, it turns out
Tame, very tame. Yeah.
It doesn't really make much difference, in
Right.
what I read about.
That's okay.
But I feel like I have more of an excuse when I'm drinking a lot. So, I feel better about it actually if I have a few drinks, because otherwise I feel like, man, I didn't make any sense, but I don't have no excuse. But so, that's kind of how it is tonight, where I don't really have much of a buzz going, well, except for the Scotch card huffing. But that's kind of.
Oh yeah.
So
the
who
good
that
old-
is behind Santiago?
I mean, that's a normal Sunday.
He's
though,
trying
Scotch
really
card
hard to
thing.
set up a pit maneuver. Oh, they're trying to pit each other. Oh, it's Jared Duclos in the Bear Pope.
That was for position, and there's he just took the checkered flag. Wow.
Huzzah.
Yep. Bear Pope making the pass. That was for second in class. Jared Duclos coming home 8th overall, second in class, passing the Escudier. Oh. Okay.
He's angry about it too.
And
Was
he
it
mi- he
Santiago
missed.
in the
Yeah.
sorry
No,
car?
it was his teammate,
The other
Carl.
driver?
Carl.
Yeah, Carl.
Okay. Carl.
And somehow, after flying off the track, nice, getting some air.
They are hunting for each other. They are trying very hard.
All 4 tires were off the ground.
The boys didn't know how they got to France, but they're going to make the most of it.
All right, Carl, try it again. Somebody, of course, hashtagging "Do It for Dale" whenever you pass on the grass.
That's right. Believe
There they are. There goes a group down the Mulsanne Straight. Oh yeah, there's like a huge group. Look at the track map.
Yep, everybody's.
Oh, this should go well when they get there.
Santiago's got himself in there as well.
Oh,
Whoop.
I see sparks.
Hey, Sparks. That was a self yeet. It's not always easy to do the self yeet.
Eating in the Dark, that favorite Depeche Mode song.
I was gonna say, is that a Hoobastank song?
Boris the Sprinkler.
Eating in the dark.
Man,
Yeah.
there's a
Eric's a big Boris the Sprinkler
That's
fan.
so bad.
That's right.
Whoa! Ouch!
Ooh,
That did
that's
not.
the fastest a soul
There's a
has ever
chicane
closed on
there,
me.
my friend. Everyone's in first gear.
It's not speed that kills; it's the sudden stop.
That's right. So Phil, that is the yeet.
There it is.
Triple yeet.
Oh, that was a good crash.
Cat
So-
circus
so, Phil,
again,
that
ladies
is
and
the,
gentlemen.
uh,
Cat circus.
I want
that
to
is
get the cat on the moonboat.
Oh,
Hit two solstices, and they both did front flips. Amazing.
That's pretty good. The multiple solstice flip.
And
Dude.
look at iRacing.
That's a good
Continue
one.
to render those headlights.
Yep.
Well, the headlights still survived.
Woo, look at those sparks. Look at that twisted
So-
metal. Twisted,
Phil, is that
twisted
coughing
metal.
sound from the intro to Sweet Leaf?
Yes, it is.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Wow. I love the smoke. I keep waiting for a car to fly through on the smoke.
So far,
Again.
none
That's
of the
awesome.
crashes have measured up to the car that got about 100 yards into the air straight
No,
up.
that was
So
Barber. That was a
Yeah. That was
Hats off
pretty good.
again to
There.
Top Flight Computing because the rendering is just amazing.
lots of top flight computing is going into what you see tonight and what you
So
hear.
if this actually happened in a real race, I mean, the audience would be going crazy. Like, man, we have never
Yeah,
seen
nice
so
job.
much death.
Nice job mentoring the sponsors and relating it to the viewers. Well done, sir. If only there were a podcast where anyone else could advertise it with such quality advertising.
Right.
If only.
Well, I guess we're
Contact
just out of
us
luck there.
Everyone.racers@gmail.com.
Everyone dot racers?
Yes,
Yeah, apparently we were too late. Who knows?
Couldn't you just think of a different
Mental
name?
doesn't know how to make a discernible email addresses, I guess.
Emails are hard.
Well, we retrusted it to mental. Maybe that was our
I
first
see.
problem.
Someone wants to know the junkyard car with meth pipes found on the driver's seat.
Whoa.
I have to say, unless you count like
Nice.
broken light bulbs and random pieces of glass as meth pipes, I've never actually found a glass obvious non-cannabis pipe in a junkyard car. I found all kinds of pot pipes, but I mean, people smoke meth out of anything, so I'm sure I've seen things used to smoke meth in the junkyard. I would have to say, if I had to guess, I would probably give the award to one of the Chrysler Cloud cars, like the Cirrus. You know, that seems like a real meth pipe sort of car.
Pontiac Grand something.
Grand. Yes. either
Yes.
one. Yes. Or the G3. Maybe every single G3 came with a meth pipe. I don't know. Never seen one. Well, I've never really looked. I'm sure when I've seen them, I thought they were Aveos, which don't really register. Actually, we've had that one Aveo that we had from Zoom Zoom Kaboom. That thing is fast as hell, and we've gone through it. It's pretty much stock. I don't know who has it now. Somebody bought it. I mean, those guys are pretty good drivers. But the Aveo, with a manual transmission, has pretty good, racetrack potential. And therefore, the G3, which is the Aveo, also would.
Well, and it's hard to find anything these days that is not the bottom rung of the rental car fleet, but sold to with a proper manual transmission.
Well, no, rental cars in the U.S. never have manuals.
No,
so
I
you're
don't mean the
never gonna
rental
get the
cars,
free
but
one,
it
yeah.
has to be like it's only the rental car cheap piece of junk.
Well,
that you can actually find.
the reason I looked up the G3 was that I'm doing I do these junkyard posts for 3 different websites, and I had one going up pretty soon on Autoblog. I found a 2005 Aveo in like that horrible GM turquoise with a manual transmission.
Oh.
And,
That was
so I
Helium,
started
Alabama, in France.
working up all the different versions of the Aveo. And this has a manual, so I found one. And actually, just the other day, I was at the junkyard with Judge Andrew Gans, who judges a lot of the Colorado Lemons races. And I said, I'd really like to find an HHR with a manual transmission.
Nicely
but I
done,
just
Nate.
don't find it. And he found one. He immediately went and found an HHR in that junkyard in Colorado Springs with a manual transmission.
Yeah.
So if you look,
You blow the Dixie horns for that.
One of our teammates has had not one but 2 HHR manuals as daily drivers.
Really?
We don't know why he keeps buying them.
Were they
but-
as good as you would think they would be?
No, they're terrible, but he's cheap, and so therefore he finds a car that's cheap
He
and it'll
says they're
fit.
incredibly utilitarian.
Well, there's
Yeah.
so PT
He has a bunch of
Cruisers,
kids, and his bunch of
PT
kids all
Cruisers-
play bulky sports. So,
bulky sports, like the sports where you have to have, like a 300-gallon water
Yeah.
tank strapped
like
to your back.
lacrosse and hockey
Oh, I
and all
see.
kinds of stuff where you
So
get
not like,
Very a lot of sticks and balls and
so not like basketball where you bring a basketball and some shoes, right?
gotta have goalie pads and orange slices. I don't know why. You always gotta have orange slices.
So
Absolutely.
the PT Cruiser is one that they actually sold a lot of those with manuals because they were significantly cheaper with the manual. So people would show up to the dealership, they're like, "Oh, it's $500 cheaper than the manual. Give me the manual." And I think it was one of those delete options where you just get a discount, but a lot. So I think that probably 5% of PT Cruisers, which is a lot, are manuals.
Oh. How disappointing is that? Like, oh yeah.
Oh, somebody just brought up dot racing at Oakland A's games. Man, I'm kind of a purist about those dot races, though, because the old ones where they were two-dimensional and it was just actually literal dots were way better than the ones where they have three-dimensional dots flipping each other. So it was the shtick they did at 7th inning, at A's games going way back. I mean, back to the 80s with the dot races. So, yes, a car made to look like a dot, the Oakland A's dot races would be great. Do it.
I'm Googling that right now. Let's do that.
Yeah, just look at Oakland A's dot races. No, I just like the shtick. They would do it on the video screen. They would have a red, like a green, white, and actually no, they don't use the color of the team. So it'd be like a red, white, and blue dots, and they just go around like a really crude video game, and you could chug your beer and hit your bong, and then cheer for your favorite color
Go
dot.
blue.
I've actually bet. By the way, I have bet money on the dot races at Oakland A's games. But then they started using a green dot, which is the A's color, and that almost always won. So that kind of took the fun out of it.
Oh, I'm watching a YouTube video of the three-dimensional dots.
Yeah, now you want the original dot races, which may not be on YouTube. You want the one where it's two-dimensional dots. Somebody's beta porn tapes. I'm seeing that. I haven't seen a Betamax tape in a junkyard in a long time. I've seen a lot of VHS
oh, look at
porn
that!
and other tapes in junkyards. Oh, well, there's some good air right there. We should go back to
Absolutely.
that. Can we follow that car? Yeah, look at that. Unfortunately, it's dark, but the headlights are still working.
So that was some good, Eric's
Oh,
preview
that was a head
of
out.
how
Everyone
the race
involved,
is going to go.
everyone involved in that is very dead.
And the farmhouse to the left is watching carefully.
That farmhouse has body parts raining on it right now. Is that a toe? No, that's a pancreas.
Just put a video of the dot racers in our chat there.
Well, no, did you find the real dot races?
Oh yeah,
though?
the video
Okay.
dot racers, absolutely.
All right.
Go ahead and click that puppy. Red, blue, and red, white, and blue seems to be, and it's an oval course dot race.
Yeah, they would initially they would change the colors if if the visiting team, like the Angels were there, they're red, right? So they wouldn't use a red dot because you knew they weren't going to win. So they'd sometimes change it based on the colors of the visiting team.
This is almost as exciting as watching solstices go down the Mousseline Strait in iRacing.
You mean Mulsanne?
Mousseline Strait.
I'd say the Pontiac G3 is much more appropriate for this sort of racing. Wow, that car just disappeared when it got hit.
Convenient.
All right, he's crossing out of the infield and then getting some speed to hit the wall.
Oh, Anton.
Oh, it's Anton. Okay.
I'm sure he's in a yellow suit.
Clang.
Here we go. Here we go.
He's stuck in
he's
the wall solidly now.
R.I.P. Anton.
And yet none of
His
the
yellow
spectators
suit
were
is now
leaving.
red.
Actually, the spectators would have eaten an engine block. And actually, that has a history, and never mind.
Ouch.
The flaming magnesium Mercedes engine block.
Yes. Yeah, they
story,
put water on the magnesium fire.
Turns out that doesn't work.
No.
It makes it worse.
Yeah. Oh. Here we go.
All right, set up for the head-on.
Oh, wow.
He seems to be slowing down.
Wow. So
If only we knew a ceramist who was watching who could tell us about why the magnesium engine blocks in the water wouldn't work.
VW engine blocks. A lot of those used to be magnesium, the early air-cooled ones.
Is that Mustang have busted taillights?
I think that's
Have we
what is that?
officially hit something hard enough to bust the taillights?
No, that's a
Frozen. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, look at the screen graphic. Yeah, something's wrong.
No, that's a
Damn
like
it.
a power line or something.
Oh,
It's
okay. It's like
reflecting
a
the light.
reflection off.
Yeah.
All right. I think I'm out for the evening, gentlemen. Thanks for a nice time. This is great.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
We'll see you next time.
All right. See you guys.
As they bling away.
Ooh.
Ooh, Mustang on Mustang damage there.
I'm just hitting the next incident button.
Oh, missed. Carl missed. Yeah, that was. I remember when we saw that. Oh, maybe he didn't. Nice.
Steer through it, Carl.
Song's perfect. There's the line of cars that I think don't actually wreck each other, if I remember correctly. They have a nice little human
were
centipede
trying
kind
to.
of thing. They have like a human
yeah.
centipede thing going on there. Happy Music Big Rex. That's hopefully.
The solstices can't keep up. They fell off the tail of the centipede.
Yeah. I was thinking, hip check, nice.
Yeah.
I was thinking it would be funny to do a race where you have two different cars working together. Only one of them has headlights. So like you have to be like basically the car with the headlights has to stay right behind the other car.
It's
Or
basically
in
chain
front of-
racing.
Yeah, basically, but at night, so the headlights
Yeah.
become like the. I think then you get separated, and then you can't see where you're going, and I could see a lot of funny things happening with that.
For the viewers who have never heard of chain racing, it's two cars chained together. The front one has a motor but no brakes, and the back one has brakes but no motor.
Ooh! Ouch!
Big hit.
Ouch! Oh yeah, that's the you got two solstices.
Great how the Miata just submarines right under those solstices.
And soldiers on.
Oh, we're hearing from Garrett that the reason that they were centipeded together like that is because they were out of gas and they were pushing him back.
Teamwork. That's awesome. Mission accomplished, Garrett? Question mark.
Seemed to work out well for you, Garrett. Really glad you could make it happen. Stunt Granny thinks that chain racing sounds like a great time.
Absolutely.
She's right. MX-5 looking for its next victim.
Ooh, and it's the side of a solstice. Savage.
Hey, remember that time I muted myself for some reason and then tried to sign off? That was great.
Did it happen again?
Yep.
That's okay. That's okay.
Anyway, well, thank you guys for joining us this fine
Nice.
Sunday
Perfect.
evening.
Perfect.
We'll have
Donuts
two
on the
more,
Mulsanne Straight.
as you do.
French donuts. Yes.
The French love it. Croissant.
That'd be
I
a
believe that's
croissant,
called.
a cruller, I think.
crawler. Yeah, truck tire.
No, I'm sorry, Eric. Go ahead. I believe you were signing off.
I was working on it, yeah. So next Saturday night, we have more racing. It'll be night 2 of the YU Ruin Classic from Le Mans with a set of trash racing events. It's going to include a lot of really fun stuff. Next Sunday night, we'll have a 4-hour endurance race like this, but during the day so people can actually see. You'll be able to see all the cool liveries and everything. It's going to be a good time. If you are interested in participating or learning more, go to isuckatracing.com. We'll find everything you need to know there, including race times and the general rule set. There's not a whole lot of it. So, yeah, until next time, I will let you guys move on with your life. Have a good week, and we'll see you next weekend.
Thank you for having us out, Eric.
Yep. Thanks for joining us. Also,
thanks
greet
for
one of
working.
your crew.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you guys for the pleasant evening. It's like a race happened. It was incredible. So
There
there's
was a
look
race.
there's a look at your top 10. And yeah, I think that it worked out. I'm just pleasantly surprised with how well everything looked for it being a night race. And there's a lot of stuff that was dark, but still, I mean, it was incredible. So
The racing was incredibly clean. Maybe it's because there was 8.9 miles of track that could keep everybody apart, but
yeah, I was impressed with just everything, and like we talked about a lot tonight. Shout out to iRacing for all the visuals and stuff, and we know how hard they work, and it's definitely paying off. So, again, thank you for being here, and thanks to all of our viewers. So we will be back Saturday. Will be the next time you find us here on the 24 Hours of Lemons iRacing League network of platforms. So special shout out to all the viewers on Twitch tonight for hanging out all night and being active in the chat. Everybody on all the social platforms, and everybody, thanks for being here. And until we do it again, thanks again. We out.